Hello there, my name is Bruce Rain from Breakers Creations, and thank you for joining me for today's live stream. I think I missed last weekend. I've just been a little bit busy in the lead up to the silly season, so just haven't necessarily had the time that I would like. I am way behind on my video production schedule. There are several reasons for that, but I have got lots of videos that I need to get happening. But I am going to do my normal thing, and I'm going to say hello to everyone who has popped in and said hello on the chat. So if you haven't said hello yet, please do so now. By the time I get to the end of the list, you might come up there. Hello to Thomas Armstrong. Hello to Jay from the House of Moth. Steve from Mac84 is here. Will from KMac Vintage. Foxhound 477, hello. Scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. Roger Salter, hello. Apples Anonymous, Nick, hello. 0.5, hello. Gibbertronics, hello. Sam Johnson, Tev Rudin, Mega. Did I say 0.5 already? If I didn't, 0.5. Carthor, Dana, as usual with Dana, I have to go, hello. Charlie is here, Enzo Fitzhume, Callan, busy working but I'm listening. Okay, no worries. I'll try and be as interesting as possible for your listening pleasure. So, Chris Angelis, hello there. Did I miss anyone? I apologise if I missed anyone. I don't think I did. Okay. It is not a bad day here today. Got very, very, very hot yesterday, up into the high 30s in the Celsiuses. But today I think we're heading for a top of 30 by the looks of things. So warm, but not ridiculous. Christmas party at the Nakatomi Corporation. Okay, so I've got a couple of things that I want to talk about here. Firstly, I took delivery of these the other day. So I have had a little bit of a fiddle with them, but I am planning to maybe use them today if it calls for it. These are solder tweezers. Nifty. And so they're basically like two soldering irons together. And even though they are tiny, weeny little tips, they actually generate quite a lot of heat. Quite surprising. And the advantage of these is, of course, if you've got a component with solder on both sides, whether it be a capacitor, resistor, diode, whatever, you can then just apply heat to both sides and then lift the component off. It works really well for new stuff. I'm not sure it's necessarily as good for things like recapping really old Macs. And the reason for that is a lot of the time the solder gets quite crusty. Crusty and crunchy, and I find that the tweezers aren't necessarily getting the heat all the way through that solder, and under those circumstances I think we're probably still better. Well, you can do one of two things. You can either try and reapply some solder, so get a soldering iron that's really piping hot, get some fresh solder and try and push some of that old crusty solder out of the way, and then get some nice fresh solder there, which then is going to be likely to be easier melted on with the tweezers. The alternative is, of course, to use a hot air station, which is what I use most of the time. The hot air station just applies enough heat so that whatever solder is still melting will melt, and then you can just pluck the component off. But I did find that when using these with newer solder or solder that is still melting reasonably well, these are really quite nifty. So I'm doing a review on these, so that's going to be coming out fairly soon. But as usual, when I review things, I like to use them for a bit first. So using on the live streams is always a good place to use them. They are, just for anyone who is wondering, they are Secure, S-E-Q-U-R-E, Secure, and the model is, where's the model? It's on here somewhere. HT140. But review coming soon. They contacted me, they reached out and they said, would you like to review this product? And I had a look at it and I actually thought, looks like cheap rubbish to me. But I thought, you know what? I've never done a solder tweezer review before. So yeah, send it over. And I was pleasantly surprised. I'm not quite sure of the pricing and I have to go and investigate that. But in terms of their quality, they're actually really well made. So they can be powered either by USB-C or from a power supply with a barrel jack, that will actually take on quite a few different voltages. So, but I'm just using a 65 watt USB-C power supply, which came with the unit. Okay, so hi from my wife, Mei Lee. She hears plenty of your videos. Okay, once again, I'll do my best to try and be entertaining for anyone who's listening. Minus 20 degrees C, Carthor. My goodness gracious, that is cold. Don't use them to pick nose hairs. No, I will probably stay away from that. They don't actually meet at the middle, so you'd have a lot of trouble trying to get a hair out with them. You know, they're designed for use with components of a particular size. Now they are a conical tip, but they're a bent conical tip, so you end up with a bit of a flat edge that you can put on the surface. So they're actually quite good at transferring heat. Dana just stuffed his face with orange chicken and fried rice, so we'll probably pass out. Well, I had better be super interesting to make sure that Dana doesn't pass out, because we're looking at 2SIs today. And if there is one thing I know about Dana, he loves the 2SI. So wouldn't it be a travesty if he fell asleep while I was doing a live stream on the Macintosh IIsi? Macintosh IIsi is a funny sort of an animal, because it is the only Mac that ever came out in that particular style of case. And it's like a pizza box, it's like an LC, but it's a little bit taller. And not a single other Mac has that same case, not one. Now, it's got that nice curved edge, so it goes well with the monitors they were making at the time. There was either the 12-inch or the 13-inch. The 12-inch just plonked on top. The 13-inch had a swivel base, but they had the same curvature. So when you used to put the screen on top, they really did kind of look like a single unit. They had a really nice cohesion about them. Yeah, so yeah, the 2SI was great. The only downside to the 2SI was it was kind of going to be brought out to be a replacement for the 2CI, but the 2CI had a few advantages. It had more new bus slots. Did it have more RAM slots? I can't remember. There are 8 RAM slots in a 2CI, aren't there? And there's only 4 in a 2SI, I think, from memory. The 2CI kept selling. Apple was sort of like going to retire the 2CI, but the 2CI just kept selling. It just kept selling like hotcakes. People kept buying them. So what they did with the 2SI is they brought it out as a slightly lower spec model. So they brought it out with a 20 megahertz CPU rather than the 25 of the 2CI. So it was a little bit slower. But of course, the wonderful thing about the 2SI is it can be upgraded, or it can be overclocked. You can actually crank it up to 25 by just changing a clock crystal. I think you might have to do something else as well. I can't remember. I've got a video on it if you ever want to watch it. And of course, the other thing is it didn't have a floating point unit, a math coprocessor in the 2SI, but you could get one with an expansion slot. Most of the expansion cards that were made for the 2SI, whether they be a network card or whatever, usually had a spot for a floating point unit if you wanted to upgrade. So that was quite good. I just realised that I did forget to bring something down here to the workshop, so I will probably need to hop up in a moment, but I will keep it as brief as possible. I'm just going to have a look here to make sure, see all the things and the stuff. So I've been sending messages and things. There we go. And I just want to check here, because I do actually have something else that I want to talk about in this live stream, but I don't know if I'm actually allowed to talk about it yet. In my position of privilege, being a content creator, sometimes I get advance notice of things being made, things being created, things being improved, whatever the case may be. And I have an instance of that now, and it was something that I was testing yesterday, and to be quite honest, blew my freaking mind. But I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it yet, because I know it is still in a testing phase. But as soon as I know that I can talk about it, I will not only talk about it, I'll probably make a video about it as well. I'm on the hunt for a 2SI, not that I've really looked hard. Yeah, well, I might be able to help you, Charlie, because I might have another one. So this is a barn find, okay? I don't know if anyone remembers, a while ago I did a series of live stream videos on barn find Macs, and one of those was a 2SI, and I'll have to go back and watch the video and see where we got to with the logic board, because I can't remember. I think it was an absolute mess. But I do have a 2SI here, and then I've got one in my storage unit, but I don't know what condition the one in the storage unit is in. I'd have to check. I don't even know if it works. And if anyone wants cases, I can help you with cases. I've got 2 empty 2SI cases, because I got hold of 2 2SIs a long while ago. I didn't pay much for them, and they were absolutely trashed inside. I think I managed to salvage 1 power supply, but the boards became donor boards. Basically, they were just battery bombed. Jay is back. He was here at the beginning, and he's back. Hola to you. It is the time of year. I don't know if everyone out there celebrates it, but I celebrate Christmas. If you celebrate Christmas, I say Merry Christmas to you. If you celebrate something else, happy something else to you as well. When I talk about things, if I say to someone Merry Christmas, it is always meant with a positive meaning and never meant to be offensive to anyone. And I am... let's check it, say hello to the chickens. Because I fed them before, they might actually be... There we go, they're still eating the food that I gave them. I cleaned the lens as well, so it's nice and clear. It used to have spider webs all over it. But here we go with our chicken. The chickens have had enough food, and so now it's pigeon time. There are 2SI machines on eBay all the time. Just don't pay more than $50 if it hasn't been recapped. And always demand to see the logic board. Make sure it's not battery bombed. Yeah, it's very, very common for them to be battery bombed. I see lots and lots and lots of battery bomb 2SIs. But the other thing really important about the 2SI, I don't know if it's because of the caps they used, but the electrolytic capacitors on the 2SI seem to leak more than other computers of the same era. Maybe it was the caps they used, maybe it was the way the board was designed, I don't know. But the 2SI caps do seem to leak and corrode more than some of the others. So if they haven't been recapped, they absolutely must be done as soon as possible. And I often find quite a bit of corrosion underneath the caps. There is also the issue that if the caps have leaked and you power it up, and assuming the power supply still works, which it probably won't, but assuming the power supply still works, you can damage the 2SI board powering it up with leaky capacitors. Some of the other boards don't care. They just work or they don't work, or they work without sound or something stupid like that. But a 2SI, if you power it up with leaky caps, you can actually do damage to the board. So don't do it, alright? Just don't. Just don't. Okay, so now, only 030 Macintosh to get is the 2FX. They are quite rare. Love the 2FX, but why be discriminatory against 030 Macs? Let's have a look at some of the wonderful 030 Macs out there, and let's have a look at some of the shit ones as well. SE30, come on! How can you not like an SE30? Fantastic little compact Mac. Basically a 2X crammed into a little compact Mac. What about the 2X? Okay, now it's very easy to look back at it and say garbage, but when the 2X came out, it was a real powerhouse. I mean, it was a really good computer to have at the time. At the time. It then got superseded. 2CI, one of my favourite Macs ever. Another 030 Mac. And then, of course, the 2FX. That one was an absolutely fantastic Mac. Have one of those, and I love it. Yeah, and then some of the shit ones. 2VX, 2VI. I think the 030 days were already up by the time the 2VI and 2VX came out, but, you know, what are you going to do? Love the 2CI reloaded board. Nice to work on good space. I've done one of those, haven't I? Or I'm doing one of those? I'm in the process of doing one of those? I'm sure I've done one of those. I think. I'm pretty sure I've done one of those. I've got the 2FX, the SE30. Maybe I haven't done a 2CI. Never mind. Doesn't really matter. Okay. You're doing or going to do something like that. Something like that. Oh, I think I'm going to do. That's right. I've got the board, but I haven't started on it yet. And I came to the realization when I went to go do it that I had less components than I thought I had. So I sort of thought, I may not start this because I may not actually be able to finish it. So, Francois, bonjour or bonsoir, depending on where you are. What time it is? I assume it's bonsoir time over there. Picking up some wind on the mic. My apologies. That's the air conditioner over here, which is a requirement while I'm in the shed. So I do apologise if I just have my back like this. Is that any better? Or can you still get the wind? Sorry about that. You know what? I do have a little wind thing I can put over it if I've got no idea where it is though. It's probably up in the house. So anyhow, we'll do what we can. I'll just switch this around. 1:45. Well, it's morning, but it's kind of night, isn't it? I mean, I don't know. Windsock, yeah. Stick some here. Anyhow, I'm going to have a look at this TWEEZERS thing here. I don't know what else I can do, really. I suppose I could just try and block it from blowing right on me. Maybe like that. Might be a bit better. Now it's just blowing on my back. Yeah, I mean, this microphone did actually come with a little... Oh, hang on. What's this? Come on, come here. What? Maybe I've got one on this. Because I've got more than one microphone down here. God, this thing is under stuff. No, there's no windsock on this one either. Bummer. We'll have to just deal with it. Sorry, it's not wind from the AC, it's wind from your mouth. Oh, so maybe I should just have it further away then. Yeah, how about that? I shall stop speaking so windily. Alright, now I'm going to swap over to the top view now. And we're going to have a look here at this. This is a power supply. Now, as I started probably telling the story, maybe didn't finish it, but I got hold of this power supply from my group of barn find Macs that I bought. I bought a bunch of Macs. Probably overpaid for them, but it wasn't too much money. And this was the power supply of the TWEEZERS, and I'm pretty sure the board was absolutely stuffed. We've got a lot of green in here. It's really not meant to be green, but it is green. But I think we'll open it up, we'll have a look inside, and we've got two different courses of action that we can take with this. We can either look at replacing it with a modern replacement, like the one that I've got here from KMac Vintage, which we will talk about in just a minute. There is a link to it in the description as well. Or you can recap the original. And it really depends on whether you are a purist or a masochist or whatever the case may be. Yeah. Unsubscribed. Thank you very much, Dana. These are a wonderful thing, eh? These things that used to allow you to power the monitor from the power supply. Does anyone still do that anymore? So that you can plug your monitor into your computer, so when you switch the computer on, it switches the monitor on at the same time. It was wonderful, but I don't think anyone does that anymore. Maybe they do, and I just don't know about it. I've never used that monitor port. I have. God, back in the day, because I'm an old person, when we used to use these sorts of Macs for production, well, we had every single one of them set up so that the monitor came on with the push button of the computer. Absolutely 100%. 100% we did. Now, I was going to try and remember this because, yeah, there we go. That's how it comes off. This is the little nightmare board, nightmare fuel in here. There's that there. I haven't tried to power this on, nor am I going to. But I want to have a look at it. I'm not going to just instantly give up on it. I mean, if I think this might be salvageable, I'll probably look at salvaging it. But we'll probably look at the replacement as well. Now, this little guy, if you are going to use the replacement power supply, you need to salvage this little connector. So, yeah. Pliers. Oh, you can find power strips that have a monitored socket that turn the others on when a load is detected. Yeah, I was ages ago, long time ago. So I have another YouTube channel, and it's been a long time since there's been any content on it, and I apologise for that. I blame Jay. But we do actually have some plans for more episodes. But there is a channel that I set up a while ago, or we set up a while ago, called Startup Disk is Full. And it's basically just a tech chat. And it started when we were doing the Mac-Yak thing. It started when kind of Mac-Yak was coming to a close. What we were finding is there were lots and lots of technical subjects that we wanted to talk about that didn't necessarily fit under the banner of Mac-Yak. They were more, you know, sort of technically diverse in nature. So we were talking about whether it be 3D printing, home security, I don't know, drones, you know, working from home. We did an episode on working from home, which of course is very relevant around the time of COVID. And on that, we actually did a show on, you know, power consumption, and we talked about quite a lot of the products that are out there that help you, you know, lower your power consumption. And one of the things that we talked about were these devices that that, you know, when one device switches on, everything's on the power board switches on, which is, you know, like you have a primary, there's a primary connection and then secondary. And so when you switch on your primary, all the secondaries come on. And, you know, it's a really nifty thing to do if you've got lots of things attached to your computer and things and such and things. And then when you switch it off, when it notices the primary power has gone down, it switches off all the secondaries as well. Nifty stuff. So anyhow, Startup Disk is Full. Check it out. Check out our channel and have a look at all the exciting shows we did there. We did one live. All the rest were pre-recorded, and there are outtakes for most of them. And most of the outtakes are the funniest part of the show, or the best part of the show. But anyhow, I have this really embarrassingly kind of unprofessional thing where I get the giggles when we start the show. I don't mean to, but it just happens. I just, you know, I'm just like, I'm fine. And then all of a sudden, boom, giggles. Guy is there. Hello there. I'm going to change my glasses so I can see a bit better, because I need my close-up view. This is really dirty. I mean, really, really dirty. Dirty! Okay, I'm going to undo a couple of screws here. I brought the wrong glasses down here with me, so I may have to go up and get the right ones, because these are my at the computer type ones. My other ones are my multifocals, which give me a slightly better range of view. So here's our little power supply bit. If we decide to change over to the other power supply, we do need to modify this, because the replacement power supply doesn't have all the McTrickery going on to power on the monitor when the main one switches on. So you have an option. You can either disable the monitor one, this one, you can disable it, or you can wire it to be permanently on. And I would probably wire it to be permanently on, maybe. I don't know. I never use it, so it probably doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Ultrasonic one. Yeah, I have definitely ultrasonicked the TWEEZERS power supplies before. I can assure you of that. I've got a couple of things that are screwed on the side here. They're actually using the chassis as a heatsink. So there's one here and one there. I am going to have to get up in a minute because I want to go get my other glasses, because these ones, I'm going to just get driven bonkers if I am stuck with the glasses that I have down here. Are the drones affecting the Macs in New Jersey? You know, I actually think this whole drone mystery that's going on in New Jersey, well, I don't necessarily understand the whole thing because I'm in another country and everything. I sort of feel like once this drones started becoming a thing, I expect every single person who owns a drone started sending them up at night just to, you know, shit stir. That's my guess. Oh, whoopsie. Alright, can we get this out? Or is there another screw? I can't tell. I did one there, one there. Oh, and there's one here. I see it. I see it! Weapon stations. Ooh, ah.
New Jersey. There we go. Out she comes in one big go. And we've got some gunk on here, that's for sure. Look at that. Oh, man, look at it. Look at it. Oh, crap. Look at it. That is a very, very out of focus. And then we'll do this. Look at that. That's better focusy. So we got all this really white, crunchy stuff going on here, which is not pleasant at all. Oh man, that solder around here is so bad. And it looks like we've got a fair bit of leakage going on around here as well. From capacitors. I think the capacitors have leaked. Wow. So if, and this is a big if I was to pursue the restoration of this one, I would need to resolder all of these. I'd probably need to desolder them all, scrape them all clean, and then put new solder down. But anyhow, I'm getting sick and tired of these glasses. So, oh, hello, Colin. Colin, just because you've arrived, I'm going to give you chook cam. There's one chook and all the rest are pigeons, because I just fed them. And when the chickens have... Oh, I see 2 chickens, actually. As soon as the chickens have finished eating, the pigeons come along. So, here we go. I'm just going to change to this view. So, I will be back in just a moment. As I've mentioned before, I brought the wrong glasses down with me. It's driving me bananas. I want to go get my proper glasses, so it'll only take me a second. I shall be right back. I have no idea why there is no sound, but I'm going to investigate that now. It's something to do with my microphone. Okay, what about now? We're back. So for whatever reason, don't ask me why, when I left, the microphone lost connection with the base station type thing, and then didn't automatically reconnect when I came back. And that's very unusual. It's never done that before. So always a time for a new thing anyway. There's always a new technical issue just around the corner. And now there's reverb. No, it should be reverb gone now. It should be reverb gone because I have switched off the other audio. So let me know if there is anything weird going on with the audio. Now, repeat everything that I said since I sat down. Right. I said, okay, so because this is in such poor shape, I am almost definitely going to go down the easy route of going with the modern replacement. I mean, apart from everything else, I do want to demonstrate that. But I will probably try and recap and restore this as well, because I can, or maybe because I might be able to. I just sort of feel like it's, you know, it's kind of worth doing. I will throw this into the ultrasonic cleaner, but this has a relay, and relays have this little plastic lid on the top of them, and when you throw these into an ultrasonic cleaner, the contents, you know, the water gets in there because it's not watertight. The water gets in there, and it doesn't. It's really hard to then get it dry. So I usually take relays off if I'm going to ultrasonically clean something. Is that PCB bent? No, might just be the camera distortion from the camera, bit of parallax error. This is the little board here, and this actually, this little guy here, sorry it's out of focus, this guy actually looks better than many that I've seen. But anyhow, so what I'm going to do with this now, I am going to go down the path of replacing this with the modern replacement. So I'll just get this in focus. What's going on here? There we go. I've just got this little focus check thing here. Okay. There we go. You can probably reuse the plastic shell of the connector with new contacts from a regular ATX. Yeah, I'm going to just use it as it is, to be honest. I might just shove something down there to try and clean some of the green away. I'll probably ultrasonically clean that connector, but yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Okay, so let's, we've talked about it, so how about I bring it out and we'll have a look at this. This was covered in a video that Colin from This Does Not Compute did, where he did restoration on a IIsi. Please check that out. Not right now, because we're watching me. But when I'm finished, go and check that out. This is the board here. Power up to IIsi. Lucy. IIsi. There we go. So he's provided me with some little standoffs and some screws, which is great. I've got plenty of those anyway, but nice to use. Mine are all silver, so, or shiny, not black, So then the other thing we need is a power supply to give us 12 volts, and this is the power supply that was recommended. Bazimba. I assume it's that way around, because that's the AC side there, and that's the DC side there. So, yeah. Don't you dare, Paul, don't you check that out now. I told you. Sol is here. Hello there. Right, yep. Screw it down directly to the board and not use the standoffs. I could, could I? I shan't, though. I shan't do that because I don't like the way there are pins sticking out the bottom, which would be then pushing down on this board, and I just think that's bad. It's bad. The blue doesn't quite match. It's very close, but it doesn't quite match. Alright, so this gives us 12 volts. Straightforward 12 volt power supply. There are plenty out there. This is the one that was recommended, and obviously it's designed to fit onto this here, so it's good to go with this one. But it is basically just inside, in goes your AC, out comes your DC, and this one will accept a wide range of AC voltages, including the one we have here, which is 240, sometimes 230, sometimes halfway between the two. then we have this little guy, and this is called a Pico ATX. Now, I've got this plug on here, which I kind of don't really need, so I'm just going to zip that off there. And that is it there. So it is a little thing that will take AC voltage, sorry, 12 volt DC voltage, and it will output, what is it? It's a whole stack of things. It will output plus 12 volt, plus 3.3 volt, plus 5 volt. What else does it do? Other things, other voltages. But anyhow, you get multiple voltages coming out of this little thing, which just makes it very handy than a great big bulky ATX power supply. Double-sided foam mounting tape. How dare you? How dare you? All right, so I don't know. Do people want to see me do this, or would they rather see me try and recap this piece of refuse? I don't know. Let's do this. Let us do this. Gonna make it happen. Oh wow, these feel like they're plastic. Are they plastic? They are plastic. I think I want to use metal ones. That means I'm gonna have to go back up to the bloody house again. Shuzbutt. Oh look, there's a jumper in here. What's that for? Why is there a jumper in here? What's the jumper for? New ATX board. Okay, no worries. Let's do that. All right. So I am going to just duck up and grab my little collection of screws, because I would actually rather use my metal ones than plastic ones. I'm not being plasticist. No offense, but I would prefer the metal ones. So just give me 2 seconds while I go back up. Okay, the sound still works this time round. I don't know why it didn't work last time. Love the hold music, I'm glad. Hello, Artifacts Umbra. Hello there. Right, so, yeah, as I say, I'm assuming this goes around that way. I suppose it probably doesn't matter if it went around that way, but I'm going to put it around that way. That's where the DC goes in here on this one, so that's more or less the origin. And this is that part there. Now, as far as I can see, all I need are the so we're going to cut this thing for starters. So snippety snoop like that. And then, so we don't need that. So what have we got here? We've got all these cables. So, oh look at that. Oh, he's color-coded and everything. So I don't even need to worry about it. I can just take them off with impunity. I don't need to write anything down because the colors are there. Now, the challenge that I have is going to be getting these off. I'm going to look at this in the microscope and you'll get to see just how crusty they are. That solder is just going to be like one solid lump. So trying to actually scope view, there we go. Trying to melt this is going to be quite the challenge. Oh wow, sorry about my white balance. Let me see if I can fix that up. Off. Hello chickens. There we go, that's better. that is better. It does the white balance when it switches on. So here we go. All right, so we've got to get these all out. But I mean, look at the state of them. Yeah. Oh, let's see what happens. Yeah, see, the way OBS works, or the way the feed works from the chickens, if you switch it off, it takes a while to come back on again. So what I do is I have it in the background of every single view that I have, so that it never actually switches off, that it's actually there in the background all the time. So if I just do this, oh no, not that one, where are we? This one, scope camera. If I switch it off, yep, chickens are behind it. So the chickens are behind everything. Alright, so I've got some fresh solder here. I'm going to see if melting this on here is going to maybe push some of that old solder out of the way. It doesn't look like it's gonna. It's just behaving like that. Yeah. Alright, let's try and clean it first then. I get myself a nice rough toothbrush and get some iso alcohol, and we'll just see if we can decrustify this a little bit. Cut the wires, you will want to clean up the cables a little anyway. So we don't want to use the little ferrules hanging off the end of these. These got nice little ferrules on the end of them. You didn't want me to use them? I was going to try and keep the original ferrules. Can always put new ferrules on them. Are you ferrule? It'll take forever to get them desoldered. I'm under pressure. I'm under pressure to cut them. Ever tried giving crusty joints legs with acetic acid? No, I haven't. Having said that, I have had incredibly positive results with corrosion removal and just using cleaning vinegar with a bit of salt. It was quite extraordinary when I did a bit of that. I'm not going to do this for all the wires, okay? I'm just letting you know. I wanted to just see if I could actually get one of these removed conventionally. Kind of stinks. It stinks like leaky caps. Ow. We're cutting it. I have succumbed to the peer pressure all these people that were telling me to cut them. I'm now cutting them. Now, did I cut enough? Oh, geez, we're out of focus. Sorry, everyone. Has everyone got everything sorted out for the festive season? I know it's for some people it's a very stressful time of year. I'm curious about how people are all going. Are people stressed, or is it all under control? Are they looking forward to it, or is this like one of their least favourite times of the year? I'm just curious to know what people have to say about it. So that's kind of a question, I guess. It's just an open question to folks, just sort of saying, you know, this time of year, what's it like for you? Good time? Bad time? Fun time? These ones aren't as badly corroded.
Tech Night is here. Hello there. Do-do-do-do-do. Ping. Ping. Still trying to get a turkey breast joint. We often have, it does vary from person to person, but out here we tend to do barbecues for Christmas because it's so freaking hot. We'll also do barbecues, or what we often do in our family is we do cold lunch, you know, cold, so prawns, seafood, you know, or shrimp. We do, you know, it's really a big time of year for seafood and for, you know, cold meats and stuff like that. That's definitely a big thing, certainly in my family anyway. All right, well, look at this. Look it. There's our little harness. So we're going to have to clean these up. We're going to have to take all of the little frills off and clean up the ends of these. So it's going to be fun. The whole idea of a kind of a big, hot, baked meal in this part of the world is kind of, it's a bit odd because it's so freaking hot. We used to have this tradition in our family where we would go and have a picnic lunch. We would drive to a local park and we would set up and we would have a picnic lunch. And it's kind of good because you don't have to worry about cooking anything. Everyone just brings a plate and we all just share it and stuff like that. But it got to the point, you know, where it's just too darn hot. Usually Christmas Day here, it's either stinking hot or it's raining. Let's see what we're going to get this year. It's close enough to be able to know. We've got, because I'm curious to know, I do like to know what Christmas Day is going to be like. Over here, that's Wednesday the 25th, 26 degrees in the city, no rain, which is nice, and 32 degrees out west, so it's going to be pretty warm, that's for sure, Yes, Charlie is correct, Paul. That wasn't Rodney Roode, that was Kevin Bloody Wilson. Okay, now I'm going to go my fancy glasses. Fondue for Christmas, nice, I like it, I love a bit of fondue. I love cheese. Who said I don't love cheese? I love cheese. It's clean, delicious energy. Jeff Geerling, hello there. Welcome. Burn marks are a sign of good times. Okay, now, what am I looking for? I do actually want to put some new ferrules on this. So I'm going to go get my Ferrulatron here. Now, if you happen to buy one of these kits, comes with a little ferrule crusher thingy, and it comes with a whole bunch of assortment of ferrule sizes. If you do buy one of these, you'll probably find that yours looks a little different to this. And what I mean by different is all of the ferrules will be arranged into the little pockets of different sizes. However, if you get that container with the lid open and you flip it over and land it on the floor, this is sort of what you're probably going to end up with in the process of just collecting all of those ferrules and then just plonking them back in there. So I want to set expectations for people that if you do want to get some ferrules, this is what happens if you drop them on the floor. So going to be 41 in Melbourne on Boxing Day. Nice. Gosh. Oh, where are they holding the Boxing Day test? That's its SCG, isn't it, I think? So that won't be too bad. All right, so let's have a look-see here.
I'm going to find the right ferrule for the job, because they're all lots of different sizes, and you have to have it so that the metal part will fit the wires in it, and this is way too small. No, so we can't have the grey one. What about the black one? Will that fit? Oh, it does fit, and it's nice. It's nice, very nice. It's very good. It's nice. So I think we'll be using the black ones for this. Oh, what about the red ones? Red ones might as well. Well, the red ones fit too, and they're a little bit smaller, a little bit more snug. So I'm tempted to go with the red. Generally, when you're using a ferrule, you would sort of strip the wire to about the same length as the metal bit of the ferrule. I highly recommend ferrules. There's something about them. They're very, very satisfying when you put ferrules on wires. They sort of suddenly feel like they're professional. I've actually got a set of these. I don't know if anyone's seen these before. These are things so that you can remove the insides of like ATX, you know, the power supplies or the Molex connectors and stuff like that. So I got them. Only 8 degrees Fahrenheit here. Oh, that is cold. That's really cold. I don't know what that is in Celsius, but I know it's cold. Never twist the wire when using ferrules. Why not? I ask you. I had to twist it because I had lost some, I had some threads come off it. And so I needed it to be neat. There we go. I know this is a little bit dull and tedious and all that sort of stuff and all those other words, but I want to do it. And I'll tell you, I better just check and make sure these fit through. Oh, they friggin' don't. Son of a gun. Well, I won't be using ferrules then. Will I? Because they don't... Oh, yes, they do. They just fit. Ah, yes. All they needed was a little bit of motivation, and in they went. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Nice big holes there. Thank you. It is one of the downsides to when people are making PCBs. I'm not talking about you necessarily. Well, I'm just talking about just in general when people make PCBs. When they're putting components on there is a library of components in the software. So you say, oh, I'm going to stick a 14-pin PLCC here or something like that, and you just drag it across, and the software automatically lays out the pads exactly where they're supposed to be. And if you've got holes, it'll automatically put the holes in at the diameter that the software has. One of the problems is that a lot of the templates that they use, they're based around probably more modern manufacturing and not necessarily hand soldering. And so when you're hand soldering this stuff, it's actually a lot easier if some of those pads are a bit bigger or some of those holes are a bit bigger. Also with rework, solder rework, I mean, because this rework is one of the biggest things that I do with soldering. It's not just putting things together, but it's pulling things apart. And when you're doing rework, having nice big holes actually makes it so much easier if you're working with through-hole components, whether it be capacitors or whether it be chips. If there is a decent gap between the outside of the hole and the pin, it's a lot easier to then draw solder out, whether it be from, you know, a solder sucker or whether it be from using some solder wick. So, you know, I think when someone actually goes in and builds a board, see, a classic example of these little 4 megabyte sims like this, which were done by K. Kober, Satanic Mac Club. And what was fantastic about these is he built these, he designed these for people to be hand soldering. So he's done them with lots of space between the components, so you're not having to, you know, jam your soldering on down into little tight spots. And he did it with nice big pads, and with these PLCCs in particular, the pads come way out, And you would probably find that the software, the PCB design software, wouldn't have had the pads that big. They would have had to have been customized because the software just doesn't do that. So yeah, anyhow, I've just been talking about the same stuff for ages now. Sorry, everyone. I am really looking forward to Christmas this year, I have to be honest. It's only, was it 3 days away? I mean, far out for me it is anyway. It's four for a lot of you guys, but it's Sunday, it's on Wednesday. It's like, crikey, how fast does that happen? I'm going to have to start watching some Christmas specials. Getting into the mood. I watched a sort of a Christmas movie last night. Christmas movie in the same way that, like, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. There's a new film on Netflix called Carry On. It has nothing to do with the old English movies, okay? With Kenneth Williams. So it has nothing to do with that. But it did have an English person at the helm. I think he's English. Isn't Taron Egerton's English, I think. But anyhow, it's Carry On Camel. So this movie Carry On, it's set in an airport at Christmas time. It's not going to win any Academy Awards, but it was a good, fun romp. Good action film. So if you haven't seen Carry On, and you don't mind a good action film with lots of exciting stuff going on, check out Carry On. I enjoyed it. And as I say, it's just on Netflix. If you have Netflix, I don't know if you have Netflix, but if you have Netflix, it's on Netflix. If you don't have Netflix, you might have to do some of that naughty torrenty stuff. No, I would never encourage that. That's very bad. Can't be doing that. Can't be robbing these people that are making things. We can't be robbing them of their rightful income and earnings. First time since 2014, Lou and I are having a Christmas to ourselves, not going to Guernsey this year or having anyone over. Guernsey. That's really good. It's, I mean, it's kind of similar for me this year. So I have a sister who lives in Melbourne, which is the next state down from where I am. And I have like an auntie and uncle that live in Sydney and a cousin that live in Sydney, and then I've got another cousin that lives in LA. He's actually in New Zealand at the moment, but he lives in LA. And then I've got another cousin that lives in New Zealand. And each Christmas we manage to wrangle together a reasonable number of people. Sometimes the ones from New Zealand come over here. Sometimes the ones from the US come over here. In the instance of this year, the ones from the US have gone to New Zealand, and some of the ones from Sydney are going to New Zealand. I'm not. I can't really afford a trip to New Zealand. But this year, there is almost everyone in the family is overseas, so it's going to be a very, very small one. But I have to admit, with what we have planned, I am really looking forward to it. I think it should be good fun. Red One. I enjoyed Red One. That was a fun film. I can put the movie on Plex and share my library. You wouldn't steal a car. I remember that ad. Have you seen Red One? Yes, I have seen Red One, and I did enjoy Red One. It's once again, it's not a film that is going to win any Academy Awards. Oh, maybe for effects. There were some good special effects in it. I love J.K. Simmons, so you know that's all good, and I quite enjoy Dwayne as well. But yeah, Red One is good. It's not great, but it's good. It's quite watchable. I did enjoy it. There's still a few movies I haven't seen that I want to see. I want to see Heretic. That's the one with what's his name? English dude. You know the one. I think it was Heretic. It's called Heretic? Yeah, Heretic. I'm pretty sure it's Heretic. One really good Christmas movie is Klaus. Klaus? Klaus. We are nearly finished doing this tedious part, so while we're just sitting here chatting about films, the films we like to watch, or Christmassy things. One of the things that I actually like to do to get into the mood for Christmas is not even necessarily Christmas movies, but Christmas specials of TV series that I like. So whether it be like the Christmas special of a Family Guy episode, or Family Guy, or a Christmas special of, there's a TV series that I used to love in the olden days. It's very, very sort of childish humour, but it was a TV series called Bottom, with Rick Mayall and Adrian Edmondson, and they had a Christmas special in that, which I love to watch. I love watching South Park Christmas specials with Mr. Hankey. That sort of stuff, you know. So I tend to, if I'm trying to get myself into a Christmassy mood in a bit of a hurry, I might put on a few Christmas specials, TV shows. Do you listen to Christmas or Christmas-related music? I do. Generally, if I'm having a Christmas thing, I tend to. I am more likely to put on something like a Harry Connick Jr. Christmas special than I am to listen to some of the other Christmassy type songs. I don't like Christmas pop songs. I just cannot stand that one by, what's her name? Mariah Carey. I just can't listen to that one at all. The other day, we had this little thing with our small circle of friends. When I say we have this thing, we talk about it, but I don't think we actually do it much. But anyhow, you have to try and last as long as you can without hearing, what is it, the Wham song, the Christmas Wham song. Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away, or something like that. That song, yeah, I heard that yesterday, so I'm out. I'm out of the competition. But I lasted well. I mean, seriously, what is it, 20 seconds? Only 3 days until Christmas. I lasted pretty well with that one. So yeah, heard that one yesterday, Dana. So I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Whoopsie. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I actually, you know what, that's a guilty pleasure for me. I have to watch that on my own. My wife can't stand it, but she just can't stand Griswold movies at all. So just never going to be watching that. Yeah, I do enjoy the Christmas one. In particular, I just love, what's his name? The brother. I mean, I know he's not a brother in this, but he is. He's the brother of another famous actor. Someone will remember. Oh God, I'm just gone blank here. I just can't think of the name. Randy Quaid. That's it. Dennis Quaid's brother. Randy Quaid just absolutely cracks me up in that film. He really does. Yeah, I can, watch that and laugh and laugh and laugh. But yeah, as I have to watch it by myself. Right, so this, I dare say, will go that way. We'll want that with that orientation, because that's the orientation that it had in the original one. So that way around, with the power cables going that way. So we're going to stick that on there. So I'm going to do that right now. I'll take this all off thing here. And once again, thank you very much, Will, for having the names of the bloody wires on here, the colours. It's great. Black ground. So what do we got? We got yellow, white. Let's do that. Yellow. White. You can get through. We know you can. I did it before. There we go. Shit is full. That was wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Wunderbar. Green. This is great. This is so idiot-proof. This is so good. Black, black. There we go. Black, black. Foofa. There we go. Black, black. Get in there, you little... Don't you make me do this to you. Whoa! You're going in, okay? Whether you like it or not. Okay, I'm going to just solder that row, because I will. Use the black, black on the same row as the yellow, white, green. That's exactly what I did. It just seemed the logical thing to do. So I did that. I feel like I'm passing the test. Christmas-themed electronics project. I don't have any. I've got a calculator. I'm not sure if that's terribly Christmas-themed. I've got a Christmas-themed shirt on today. That's something, isn't it? I'm good about that. I can actually smell the, I don't know where it is, whether it's on my soldering iron or whether it's on these wires or something, but I can smell the leaky cap juice as I'm soldering here. These take a little bit of heating because I might change over to the scope view, give you guys a better view, as why not? These take a little bit of heating because of the, excuse me, because of the ferrules. Let's just move you down a little bit. There we go. White. Punge. Yeah, that's the word. That's the one we came up with. I actually, I often get fairly busy around this time of year because it's when people want to do updates and things. So even though for a lot of people it starts to become a quiet time, I end up often having to, you know, do system updates or web updates and things and stuff and that and things. Oh, you go in. There we go. All right. Now I'm going to have to trim some of these off because, my goodness, they're sticking out a long way. One of the things that we have done in our family to make Christmas easier is all part of the gift-giving side of things. So we just do a everyone's name in a hat sort of type thing, and you have someone that you have selected to give them a gift. You've got a $30 limit, and they have to provide you with a wish list. You know, I'd like this book, or I'd like this album, or I'd like this, you know, whatever, just to make it easier for the other person. But most importantly, to make sure you end up with something that you want. I mean, let's face it. I mean, you run around trying to find things for people in kind of Western society these days, and everyone's got everything they need. You know, what do you buy people? And all of a sudden you're having to buy weird stuff because you can't think of anything. Oh, what am I going to get this person? Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll get them a waffle maker. Or I'll get them a chocolate fondue machine. Or I'll get them a slushy maker or something like that. Some stupid thing that the person doesn't need and will never get used. And it's one of the things that ends up happening around this time of year, which I get really frustrated by. I buy gift cards for my immediate family. But yeah, gift cards are another good thing to do. I mean, out here in this part of the world, we have we have Bunnings, and if in doubt, Just get someone a Bunnings voucher. Everyone can find something that they want from Bunnings. Bunnings is kind of like the, you know, the Australian equivalent of, what is it, Lowe's, big hardware group. There might be a better example than that. But they're kind of like the biggest chain of hardware stores here in Australia. This one is being an absolute, I don't know. What word do I use? What word can I use that won't offend the children? Got it. Don't know why I ended up with the other ones all going in quite well, and just these last two are being kind of cows. My wife and I tend not to buy anything for each other for Christmas. We buy each other goodies all year round, so kind of it's like, yeah, buy something on this day. It's like, why? Why this day? Having said that, this shirt was a gift from my wife. This t-shirt that I'm wearing right now. It's very nice of her. She knows I wear a lot of t-shirts. Has anyone else got Last Christmas in their head now? I sure have. Lovely. Okay. Oldery. Here we go. This is fun. Isn't this fun? I don't know if anyone heard, you know, sort of that George Michael was like, he got frustrated, you know, because he came up with the idea of Last Christmas and he thought, oh, this is going to be an absolute winner. I'm going to have the biggest selling single of the year. I'm going to have one more #1 hit before the year finishes. You know, how awesome is that? And then Live Aid happened, or, you know, Band Aid or whatever it was called, you know, where they did that, do they know it's Christmas time at all? Pew, 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 pew. That came out, and while he was totally behind the, he appeared in that song. He sang in it and was very much behind the sentiment of it and all that sort of stuff. But he did say he was a little bit frustrated because he thought he would get this #1 song, but it ended up only staying at #2 because that song was so big. And that. Okay, see you, Foxhound477. Thank you for joining. Seems like a Band-Aid solution to me. Do you get bombarded by Slade, Merry Christmas, or Wizard? No. Now, this is interesting because I know about this. I know about this from someone that an English friend that used to talk about, you know, the one thing that like about Christmas
was always, in particular, that Wizard song. Can't remember. I wish Christmas every day or something like that. Can't remember the song. But yeah, that song by Wizard, and then of course Slade, and not Shakin' Stevens. I've never heard this. Oh, actually, I probably have heard a Shakin' Stevens Christmas song. But anyhow. So no, we definitely don't have that here. We definitely don't get the same thing with those songs. So I know they're a big thing at Christmas in England, in Britain. Right, so I'm going to find a screw here that's going to have enough size to go through. That's not it. I've only got these really big standoffs. I've got some smaller ones, but I've only got 3 of them. It's a fat lot of good 3R when I need 4. I need to buy some more. And I've got these little tiny standoffs. These would be perfect. But I've only got 1 of them. And that's just... no. 1's not enough. I need 4. Jeez, I started sounding like... what's his name? David Jones there for a minute. Okay. Oh, man, these holes aren't big enough for an M3 screw. What's going on? I'll make them big enough. I'll tell you that. I refuse to use anything but an M3. I can use 2. I like the cut of your jib. You know what? I might just use 3. Because why not? And you're right, it doesn't really take that much, does it? And I can always go and get more of these from J-Car. They're just up the road. But I'm not sure I can be bothered. I wish it could be Christmas every day. I should just drill this, make it bigger, so I don't have to screw this in like this. It would be better. Yeah, stuff it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drill a hole. An hole. Excuse me while I go play the grand piano. It has an hole. Excuse me while I go play the grand piano. Hoover. Yeah, I mean, I didn't see any traces there, so I figured I'd be fine drilling a hole. Oh, did I tell you about this? I may have told you about this in a stream before. I was chatting with Kay Koba, and he sent me this picture of an SE30 that he was trying to repair. And so someone had to go at recapping an SE30. Now, as we all know, SE30s, surface mount electrolytic caps, got to replace them. Some people like to replace them with tantalum. Some people keep the surface mount electrolytics there. And some people, they'll use through holes. They sort of solder them down and they lie them on their side, which I don't recommend, but some people do that. And anywho, he sent me this picture of an SE30 board that someone had attempted to recap, and they weren't comfortable using surface mount components, so they decided they would use through hole instead. But they wanted to make sure that they would get good purchase when they put the through hole components on. So they drilled holes in the board for the leads of the capacitors to go down. And that, to me, was just the most wonderful thing I had ever seen. And he sent me photos of it. And it's basically, here's this SE30 board where he showed me the part around the this bit here, where you have the 3 caps, and he basically just showed, you know, there's, it's like, what is it, 6 holes drilled through, ready for the through-hole components to go in. I looked at that and I thought, that is someone that does not quite get it. They don't quite understand what's going on. You've seen a picture of that board. Yes. Oh, wow, man, it's just incredible. Quite incredible. Now, where would you put them? Where would you put the 3? Okay, we're obviously going to do opposing corners, sure. But if we've got a 3rd one, you think it's better off going there or there? Probably not going to make any difference, but I'm just sort of thinking. It's got the heavier heat sink on this side, but it's got heavier caps on that side, so I don't know. Oh man, we are faced with these conundrums. I don't know. I don't think it really matters, to be honest. The AC side, okay. Alright, we'll listen to Will. Many wouldn't, but I will. Okay, now I've got that bloody Wizard song in my head. Have to push down on the connector for the AC wires. Yep, that's logical. I actually really don't like this connector. I'm tempted to just bloody whip the thing off and then just solder them directly to the board, but I don't know. Now, somewhere along here I have one of these little things that allows me to, yeah, that's it, tighten these up. Nice and tight. Screwed on by hand by me is nice and tight. There we go. So it's looking pretty good, isn't it? It's starting to actually look a little bit like a power supply. Yay! Now, the next step we must follow here. I still haven't used the programmer yet. I do apologise for that, Will. I have been, lately, over the last few days, I have been providing some instructions about the Wolverine 8mm film digitizer. I have published on Tinker Different in the resources section a way that it can be hacked. Pigeon just landed on the roof. A way it can be hacked to record at a higher quality bit rate, higher resolution than originally. And so, yeah, I've been doing that quite a lot, and I've finally finished that. I've published the whole thing with instructions. I probably will do a video on it, but that's just gobbled up a lot of time. And there was something else that I've been working on, which I'm just desperate to talk about, but I haven't been given the green light to talk about it yet, so I have to wait. No, I haven't got a reply. Wake up! Pigeon, not kitchen, pigeon. Pigeon, pigeon. Here's a new era for you. It's cold outside, there's no kind of atmosphere. I'm all alone, more or less. Yes. It's cold outside, there's no kind of atmosphere. I'm all alone, more or less. Let me fly. I started that in a different key. Sorry, everyone. Let me fly far away from here. Fun, fun, fun. I don't want to make this wire too long, but I don't want to make it too short either. So, because, you know, once you cut it, you can't, well, you could add a little bit extra, but that would be unsightly. So I'm going to make it around about that length. That length there. And of course, I'm going to put ferrules on it, because I've got the ferrule thing out here, don't I?
Oh, I'm twisting the wire. I was told not to do that with ferrules. Someone said don't twist the wire with ferrules. I am going to hell. Connect to Pico, cut wires and connect in. I'm doing it my way. The grey ones work good, mate. Work good. Yeah, good, thanks. Was that? Do love a bit of Red Dwarf though. Still not seen beyond Series 7. Yeah, it kind of lost. It really peaked at Series 6, to be honest, in my opinion. Once one of the creators left, because it was Grant Naylor, and one of them left, and once that one left, they never really, I felt, never really were as funny. You know, Series 1 and 2, you kind of got to see them to know how it all started. Series 3 was really when it started to kick in my opinion. Series 5 and 6 are the best. They are really good. So Series 3 is when Crichton, I think, came on as a main character. In you go. In you go. When you're using these sorts of things, the screw down connector type things, this is where ferrules are really, really good. They're so much better than just screwing down onto bare wires. At the very least, solder onto them, but ferrules I think are the best for this sort of connector. -3. Are you talking in Fahrenheit there, Colin? Because if you are, that's just stupid cold. I mean, what's all that about? It's time to move. Ta-da! How good is that? I'm not going to impress Colin with this. He's already done it. He'll just be like, ho-hum. Right, now, the next thing we need to do is start doing a little modificationizing of the mains power bit, which is here somewhere. Here it is, this bit. Barmy 34C. Yeah. Remember, it's getting -30 before the wind chill. Wow. -30. Once you get down to -30, I think Celsius and Fahrenheit actually overlap. So for anyone who is not aware of how the Celsius scale works, 100 is the temperature where water becomes steam at sea level, because that changes obviously depending on your altitude. But if you're at sea level, it's 100 degrees Celsius is that sort of boiling point, you know. And 0 is freezing point. So when you get down to 0, that's when water becomes ice. And so, from my perspective, you know, 0 is bloody cold. But I know for some people it's not. But over here, because it's where I am here in Sydney, it doesn't get that cold. The coldest I've probably ever had here is maybe -5C. I don't know what that is in the but probably about -5C. And it doesn't snow here. I mean, ever. It does not snow here at all. But it does get flamin' hot. That I can tell you. That I will make a promise to you. We had a 40 degrees C day the other day. I don't know what that is in F, but that was a stinker. Right, so I'm going to need to try and get this out, but I don't know what to use. I might look at this through the magnifier and we can see if we can figure out how to get these wires out. How are they held in? Okay, so I've got to stick a pokey dokey down there. So have I got a thin pokey dokey? Yes, I have. So if I push this down through there, come on. I might need a bigger one. This one might be too small. Flamin' galahs. I'm doing my Alf Stewart. You flamin' galah. Let's try this one. So all I need to do really, as far as I can tell, is push this little flat piece of metal down, but I'm having trouble getting to it. Has anyone watched the series Silo? Just curious. Anyone? 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 Hey, that's the way you do it, huh? That's so nice. Will has watched Silo. Yeah, I just started Series 2 after watching Series 1. It is a really well-made series. They must have sunk a ton of money on it. The visuals are spectacular. When it first started, I thought, oh, this is a lot like Fallout, but it's very different. I mean, it has a couple of similarities, but on the whole, it is a very different series. All right, so we got those all out. So, I mean, you know, I'm probably now about to get told, oh, you're going to have to cut them all off. But at least I got them through here. So, there's those. Now, what do we need to do here? I know we need to do some sort of stuff. So, we've got the power coming in here, and we've got the power going to there. Now, this one here is the one that's providing the live. So if anyone is wondering, the colouring system, certainly here in Australia, the way it is live is brown and blue is neutral. In this instance, they've used white for neutral. One of the mnemonics that people use for that is the brown wire. It's the live one, so it's the one that makes you poop your pants. So you have the brown one. I actually remember it as the sort of the neutral side, which is the blue. I think of blue as calm, so it's the neutral one. But yeah, yeah, Silo is an Apple one. It's one of the Apple ones, and they, as I say, I hate to think what the budget would be like. 42 degrees C when we got off the plane in Cyprus. Yeah. We had a very humid start to the warm season here, but it's a little bit drier now. We haven't had any, you know, really decent rain. We've had some rain off and on, but earlier on, like in sort of late spring and that, it was crazy humid. We had a day where it was 97% humidity. It's like far out. You know, I mean, you could just about get a spoon and scoop the water out of the air. Black is live. Yeah, black is live. That's old colouring, though. That's not what we use here. We don't use black anymore here. It's brown and blue. So, and then obviously green is earth. So here's the situation we have with this. This little brown wire here would have connected to this in the past, and when you powered it on, it would have sent power to this brown one. So this one would not be live typically. If we want this to be live now, we have kind of two options. Well, sorry, let me put it this another way. We have two options with this now. Option number one is we can make it permanently live, so that if you've got power connected in here, this one is live as well. I am tending towards that, even though I don't really use it. I don't see any danger associated with that, because you know, you'd have to stick something long and metal in there for there to be any danger associated with that, and that's the same with any PowerPoint.
Like living at the bottom of a swimming pool when it's that humid. Yep, it's a bit like that. All right, so same colours in France. Yes, I think it's because you guys use the same voltage as us over there as well. But you're not in France, are you, Francois? You're in Sweden, or I think I can't remember. You did tell me once, but I forget stuff like that. I've just got that sort of brain, you know. Okay, so why have we got two? Why do we have two brown ones? We only need one brown one. That must be part of the switching for the top part. So I can just get rid of one of these. I don't need it. I'll get rid of the one that's not going through the little, what do you call that? Ferrite core thingy. Mark Anning, 64-bit guy. Hello there. France, yes. Okay, you are in France. Okay, cool. 240 volt 50 hertz here. Yeah, that's what it is here too. I mean, having said that, it's a little bit less than 240 these days. They stole a few volts from us, but it's on the whole. I mean, I could stick a multimeter in the power socket right now if it would make people happy. All right, so I'm going to remove this wire. This one here is going to go completely. I'm doing this without instructions. I'm just doing it based on what I think I'm supposed to do. I'm assuming that Will jump in and tell me if I'm doing something wrong, because unless, of course, he wants to see me fail spectacularly. And, you know, I wouldn't blame him if he did. That's a bit of schadenfreude. Cool summer in Austin. We only hit the maximum of 41. Yeah, I mean, the hottest we've ever had here, I've said this on my live stream many times, the hottest we've ever had at this location where we are now is 45. It's the hottest we ever get. But we do get into the high 30s, low 40s quite regularly. 42, 43, that does happen quite regularly. But it's not often we get more than that. But having said that, it is definitely hotter here than it used to be. I'm not sure. I'm not going to get into any sort of discussions about you know, climate disruption or anything like that, because I know there are a lot of people that you know, I know that can cause a lot of debate, so I'm not going to do that. But I can tell you that it is definitely a lot hotter here than it used to be. The temperatures that we see here, we did not used to see before. I'm just going to snip this rather than try and desolder it from this massive gunky solder that we have here. Just going to snip it. Whoopsie. Snip. The earth is flat. Everybody knows that. Yeah. Right. Let's do some soldering. Gonna get some solder on this first. Just think it might make our life a little bit easier. I did a beginner's guide to soldering video quite a long time ago. And in it I soldered two wires together. And one of the most common comments I get left on that video is, why didn't you twist the wires together before soldering them? And of course I do twist wires regularly. And generally the answer that I give to that is that when you twist wires, you get oil and stuff from your fingers on the wires, and that could potentially make it harder for the solder to adhere, because things need to be nice and clean for solder to adhere to them. So I generally sort of try and discourage twisting wires in that regard, because you might then have a little bit more trouble getting solder onto wires. And when it comes to beginners doing soldering, that is one of the biggest problems people have. And I know that because they're comments that I get all the time with people saying, I can't get the solder to stick to this thing. And that's why in my other videos I then talk about, why isn't the solder sticking to whatever you're wanting to stick it to. And then I talk about
the ways of making sure that it does, what is potentially preventing that solder from sticking. But yeah, it's an interesting you know, thing that's something that people look at. And as I say, I do twist wires together. I'm not saying that I never do that, but in my video I was trying to kind of discourage getting your fingers all over the wires and then getting them dirty. But you know. Does anyone have a dead TWEEZERS power supply unit they wouldn't mind letting go of? Maybe. I don't know. I'd have to have a look. I did have two. I know I've got bits of one in my office. I'll have to have a look. I can't promise anything, but I'll have a look. Move the others to go through. Yeah, oh, cool. I am doing it right. Awesome. Melbourne is a lot hotter than it used to. Yeah, I know. As I say, my sister lives down in Melbourne, so it's not typically. I'm not going to say always. It's typically not as humid in Melbourne as it often is in Sydney, but that's not a, you know, that's a big sort of generalisation. I know. Now my finger's getting very hot because the heat's travelled up the wire. Okay. So, well, I've done it. I've done the thing. So I've now got the power going to the little, the power going through, like that. It's so good, isn't it? And what do we got here? This is a safety capacitor. This is what a Class X safety capacitor, this one here. It's designed to do things when things go wrong. So there you go. That's welcome to the world of technology, brought to you by Brankus. It is designed to do things when things go bad. So these have got to connect, and here, I don't think it matters which is live and which is live and which is neutral on this connector here. It doesn't have any markings, so I think it's happy to go in either way. So I'm just going to shove them in anyway. I mean, unless you tell me otherwise, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick ferrules on these as well. Does not matter. There we go. So when it comes to live and neutral, yes, they can be put either way around, okay? Because it's an alternating current, so the current doesn't go in one direction. It swaps direction. It goes forward and backwards and forward and backwards and forward and backwards. So technically, you can put them either way around. When they are put in a particular way, live versus neutral, it's usually from a safety perspective. So, for example, if you have a large AC circuit, you would put the power switch at the live side, not at the neutral side. Because let's imagine, I don't know, let's imagine you've got a wire going up to a light and you've got a power switch. If you put the power switch on the neutral side, it means the wire that goes all the way up to the light and all the way down to the switch is all live, and that's dangerous. But if you put the power switch on the live side, it means that all the neutral is safe. If you were to touch that neutral wire while it's switched off, it would be fine. But if you put it around the other way and you put the power switch on the neutral side, if you were to accidentally touch the live side, you could get a zap. Something like that. I explain all this stuff like I really know what I'm talking about, and at the end of the day, I don't. So, but one of the great things is I have a lot of smart people watching this, so if I say something which is just straight out wrong, people jump in and they tell me, which is awesome. Okay, so I think with this one, we're probably going to be... I think these wires might be a bit too fat for the black one, but we'll see. Oh no, the black one fits. Great. Oh, that's great. Today will be Ferrule Day. I've used so many Ferrules today. It's going to be a national holiday. National Ferrule Day. Hateful Teddy Bear, hello there. Purchased some Styriflux a week ago. Should be here on the 23rd. Can't wait for it to flow. Thanks again for recommendations. You are most welcome. As I have to admit, I'm not doing any soldering today, so I haven't actually had any of the Styriflux out. But I do need to do some soldering because I've got to try out some of these fluxes that I've got here. Very keen. Very keen. Very keen. Right, I think I can pretty much get around to putting this back together again now. I don't know if I should put this in here and then connect up the AC power. Probably doesn't matter. It doesn't block the holes or anything like that. So I think I'll just put it in. Now I've got to jam these little things down, don't I? I'd hate them. Oh, it doesn't freak. Oh yeah, it does fit. I nearly got mad. There was no need. I did not need to get mad. The only issue I've got here is these are two different lengths, so... I had to fix my stove yesterday. My cooktop. My range, as some people call them. It got some critters in it. And that really upset it. Oh, don't be up. It comes back out again. When I feed it in, I pull the plastic thing down and I feed it in, and it goes in. It's all nice, yeah. It's very nice, yes. And then when I let go of the thing, it pulls it back out again. So I think I'm going to have to do this ferruleless. My wires are getting really dangerously short now. Rats love chewing appliance wires. Well, this was actually not rats. This was little cockroachy type things that had crawled up into the range and had got some of their gunk onto the main control board. You know, just like, you know, their normal gunk, feces and stuff like that. Inside the thing, and it had caused a short circuit. And it just was making the thing throw up an error. So I basically just pulled the main circuit board out, cleaned it, and put it back again, and it works beautifully. But I am not cooking anything tonight that's going on the stove, so isn't that frustrating? I'm cooking stuff in the oven tonight. Not to worry. Alright, let's try this again. Hey, 1-Bit Fever Dreams. Welcome. Welcome. Yeah, that's better. So this was, the ferrules were too big for this type of connector. So what are you going to do? You know what you're going to do? You're going to get rid of them. That's what you're going to do. Okay. Right, so we are connected. So right now, right at this particular moment, I theoretically have a functioning power supply here. Isn't this nifty? Isn't this wonderful? This is absolutely fantastic to have stuff like this. And I should mention, I think, what's his name? I think Will was actually talking about this earlier. He's actually in the process of working on a 2CI replacement. And I tell you what I love about that. You make a replacement for the 2CI power supply, you've got a replacement for the 2CI, 2CX, Quadra 700, 2VI, 2VX, Quadra 650. That is worth its weight in gold, in my opinion. So I know that is underway. Will can probably say more about that than I can tell you. But that, I think, is that will be a wonderful addition to the community if we get that. Stick the wiring harness in the case first. Oh, crap! Thank you. that very, very useful and fairly obvious suggestion came just a tiny bit too late. But thank you very much for that, Colin. It's friggin' obvious the moment you look down and you go, oh yes, of course. It's a lot harder to make that mistake with the original power supply because the cables are actually yanked down underneath the power supply. And so, you know, you tend not to make that mistake using the original. But this one, it's poking up high. So this goes in here. And it's just got these little plastic kind of, I don't know, wavy type things that when you feed it through, they click and they hold it in position just like thusly. No, I haven't bothered to clean it at all, not even a tiny bit. It's just as dirty as the day I got it. But that's okay. Have a little faith. Now, I have been told that some of these ATX power supplies, these little Pico ATXs, some of them don't have, what was it? Is it -5 volt rail? Is that correct? I know this one certainly advertised that it did, so I'm assuming it will, but I can't say that for certain. Working on the TWEEZERS to work with no Pico. So would you sell that with the power supply as part of it? So people don't have to buy a separate power supply. They just buy it as a single unit with everything they need to just drop in more or less? Is that, other than the connector, of course, I know you need to use the original connector. But would I be correct in saying that it will be sold with the power supply, unlike this one where you have to buy your own power supply? God, it fits beautifully, doesn't it? Well done, sir. Well done, sir. Where's all my bits? Where are my bits? Here they are. Oh, and you have connectors as well. Awesome. Yeah, it's just making it easier and easier. And look, I had a guest discussion. I don't know. Someone posted a comment on, I think it was Apple Macintosh enthusiasts on Facebook. I tend to spend a fair bit of time on Facebook on vintage Apple and just normal Apple and modern Apple enthusiast groups because it's one of the things that interests me. And so, not surprisingly, I quite like Facebook for that because I like the hobbyist groups. You get to speak to a lot of people and all that sort of stuff. So I quite enjoy spending a bit of time on Facebook. I know that some people are Instagram people and some people are Twitter people, but I am definitely a Facebook person. I tend to steer clear of anything political or you know, sort of anything that's likely to cause conflict. So for me, it's pretty much just enthusiast groups and stuff like that, and family. Of course, I've got family members who are on it as well, so we can share photos. But I was on an enthusiast group, an Apple one, the other day, and someone posted an image of they were practicing their soldering. So they had something, and I don't know what it was. It was a VCR or something like that, some piece of electric equipment that wasn't needed. And they were just showing that they were practicing their soldering, learning how to do it. They had a hot air station, they have a soldering iron, they were removing capacitors, replacing capacitors, and then saying they're just getting some practice in before trying on their LC2, to recap the LC2. And of course, you know, I gave them a thumbs up and I'm sort of bravo. That's exactly what I say to people, you know, in my videos about recapping. I say, get out there, practice your soldering on something worthless like a PC, and then, you know, get all ready to do the recapping on your Mac. And is doing exactly that. So I'm thinking, you know, good on you. Then this turkey comes in and says, is there actually something wrong with them, or are you just vandalizing this computer? Now, needless to say, I just absolutely let it rip. I let this guy have it. I'm sort of like, okay, so your idea of, you know, replacing, you know, sort of leaky electrolytic caps as vandalism. And then he doubled down on it, just kept on going. He was just saying, you know, if you replace the cap, that's not original anymore and stuff like that. And lots of other people were just giving him heaps because he's just a twerp. And I ended up just saying to the guy, look, you know, you should really stop now because, you know, you have no idea what you're talking about and you're just embarrassing yourself. But I looked at it and I thought, what sort of turd goes in and does that? Comes in making sort of comments like that about someone who is, in my opinion, just doing everything right to then come in and say, it's like, just shut up, you know, just don't say anything. Just keep to yourself. I was wondering if anyone would pick up something worthless like a PC. Yeah, so... okay, having a look here. Josh Hayes, hello there. Try it with the cover off to see if all light up. Oh, you've got lights on here. Oh, I love it. Of course, it's got lights in there. This is Will. Will puts lights on everything. Come on, always have lights. It's all about lights these days. I need to go and get a 2SI. I haven't got one down here. I do, but actually I don't think there's a logic board in that one. I could test it on a 2CI, but I don't think I have one of those here either. I better go up and get a 2SI. So if you will excuse me just for an uno memento, I'm going to go get a 2SI and we're going to test this out. So I'll be right back. Back soon. Okay, I've got sound. Yes, I've got sound. Yay! Okay, so here is a 2SI. I didn't bring the top down. I just brought this. It has no floppy drive. I'm not sure why. If I took that out for something else, but there's no floppy drive in this. Who uses a floppy drive these days anyway? I ask you. 3 lights, AC, DC, Pico, and the board. Awesome. Okay. I'm just going to check here. Extractor, would you say that my latest project is also worthless? I call it the Pequeño Cubo, little cube, and it's supposed to run MS-DOS and Win98 stuff. The main PCB is 99 by 86. No, I mean, I make jokes about PCs all the time, but I love vintage computers of any sort. I don't care whether they're PCs or not. That's just always the joke that I make. I, of course, am a Mac collector, and I don't like using Windows. Mainly because I'm just so used to using Mac OS. But at the end of the day, computers are just tools, and PCs have just as big a place in vintage computer collecting as Macs do. Where there is a big difference is, of course, a couple of things. First of all, Apple still exists today, and they're one of the few computer companies, computer manufacturers that do still exist today. A lot of them either got bought up by someone else or they failed or whatever, you know. So Apple still exists today, and then you can go back and buy stuff from their history. That's one of the things that makes Apples, I think, very collectible. The other is because they always manufactured their own hardware, except during that little period where they were clones, because they always manufactured their own hardware. You don't have as much you know, they had a style about them, they had a design about them. It's like, I've seen this on some of these vintage computer groups, and someone might have a computer from a particular era, and it might be a Mac, and someone says, oh, look at this is worth X amount of hundreds of dollars or something. And then someone will show just a grey box Windows computer. Oh, this is a similar age, how much is this one worth? And it's like, well, it's worth nothing. You know, it's a grey box. It's not branded. When things are branded, if you're talking about like an original IBM computer or some of the old Osborns or some of the old Compacts or some of the old, I can't think of them, but things that had brand names on them, they have sort of become collectible. But if you're just talking about the vanilla type of PC where you just grabbed a board, you grabbed a CPU, and you put it in a grey box, those aren't really appreciating in value very much, but you know, it's stuff that is branded. I think definitely does have collectible value, and I've said this many times before. There are quite a lot of vintage computers that I would like to have in my collection if I had room for them that are not maxed, but that's just my interest. Dave, hello there. Apple wouldn't exist today without help from Microsoft in the 90s. Yeah, I mean, look at this. Microsoft definitely did help during that era. What we know, one of the most important things that impacted Apple was a complete redesign to the way they do things. At the time prior to Steve Jobs coming back, you could be an Apple person and you could walk into a shop and have no idea what sort of computer you should be buying because there were so many models out there. And sometimes same computer with a different name. One's called a LC and one's called a Performer, or, you know. And, you know, that it was a very, very confused company. And when Steve Jobs came back, he pretty much just said, we're just cutting all this down. We are making fewer models. We're just going to focus on, you know, home user, business user, that sort of thing. And they basically just simplified all the models. And then, of course, they brought out the G3. Microsoft definitely did provide some financial help at the time. But I think the main thing that saved Apple was Jobs coming back and then them focusing on the internet. I think also helped with things like the bubble G3s. They made them very internet focused, so that you could just buy a computer, you could plug it into the phone line, and you could get connected to the internet without having a lot of technical nous. Because it's in a time when, for a lot of people, they didn't really, you know, I know what the internet is, but I don't know how to get on it and that sort of stuff. And so I think that, you know, there are a lot of things, but yeah, I mean, Microsoft definitely did provide some financial help at the time. Okay, there we go. All right, so anyhow, let me just change my view here for a second. This is my top view here. This is my IIsi. I've had this for quite some time. So I got hold. This is the order of the way things happen. I got hold of two not working IIsis, and they were absolute basket cases. Managed to get some parts from them, so that's good, and I've still got the cases and all that sort of stuff. But I wasn't able to repair them. I then did get a IIsi which needed recapping, which is this one, but it worked. Sorry, that loud noise was a sulfur-crested cockatoo. I don't know. I'm sure most people will be familiar with what a sulfur-crested cockatoo looks like, but they are one loud bird, I'm telling you. When they fly past, you know it, especially if there's a flock of them, my goodness. So yeah, I got hold of this one here. It needed some recapping. I also did a video on overclocking it. So one of these has been replaced. I can't remember which one it is. It's probably... Ooh, it's the 40. It's been, we've lost it. So there's 30. This one. This one here. Oh, you can't see it. This one here has been replaced. So it originally. Oh, what? Did I change it back to original? I think I changed it back to original. This is back. It's got a 40 in it again. So I overclocked it, and then I've taken it back to its original clock speed, I guess. Unless there's another board out there. Anything is possible. This one has 4 4s in it. So what is that? 32 megabytes of RAM. I also have this network card. So we've got this Ethernet network card, which also has a slot for a floating point unit. So this one has been upgraded with a floating point unit there. And then, of course, this is the bit that sticks out the back that allows you to connect either your thin, thick, or twisted pair Ethernet. One thing is interesting. I mean, these days everyone just uses twisted pair. That's what 10 base T, 100 base T, 1000 base T, all that. Everyone just uses that. That's just accepted. But the company I worked for, when we first changed over to Ethernet, we actually went with the thin, the coaxial. And the reason we went with the coaxial is that on paper it's actually faster. But because twisted pair uses hubs or switches now, back then it was just hubs, but they use switches, they're much better at handling large amounts of traffic. So when you get lots of computers on there, it's actually quicker to go with this. If you were just connecting up 2 computers together, you'll actually get better performance. This is the old 10 base T days. You get better performance using the coaxial. But you didn't need terminators on the end. They used to have little T connectors, and you'd have a terminator on the start, and then a terminator on the end, and then the coaxial going between the two. So yeah. Anyhow, that's that. Now this is the power supply. This one here, you can't see it. It's here, it's there. This one has been recapped and does work. However, it still does have problems. This computer sometimes just restarts all by itself, and I dare say I think it's because there's a problem with the power supply, so I'm quite happy to actually replace it. As I say, this has no floppy in it. This has an actual mechanical hard drive in it. I have not put a Blue SCSI or Zulu SCSI in this as yet, so that's interesting. This has a ROM sim slot, but it doesn't need that because it's actually got the ROM soldered onto the board there. Those 2 chips there are the ROMs. Right, well, let's get this bloody power supply out, shall we? And we'll just see if this works. One of the things that I do get frustrated about with this is the speaker, which is underneath this, I think. Yeah, the speaker's underneath that, and it actually connects to the board via little metal tabs. So when you're testing these, it's a real pain if you're wanting to hear the sound and you can't hear the sound. Oh God, these things suck. I hate getting these out. There we go. So this is the power supply that has been recapped and does sort of work. But we need to plug this in here and without the lid on because we need to test it and see how it looks. There we go. Now there are a couple of potential outcomes here. One, it might blow up. Now I know that's what everyone wants, but I can't promise that. That'll do. Focus enough. All right. I sort of feel like I've done everything right, so if it doesn't work, I'll be pretty annoyed. But, you know, anything's possible. All right, I'm going to grab this power supply here. This is cable here. And what's interesting about this cable is it has inside it 240 of the finest Australian volts. And we are just going to plug this in and see what happens. This is a soft power Mac, so you have to press the button to switch it on. But I'm going to pop this in. Now, of course, if everything just goes black, it's because I've blown a fuse or something, all right? Oh, okay, we're good. Oh, I've got a little green light. There's a little green light on the power supply. Is that a good thing? That seems like a good thing. Green lights are good. So, yeah. Good thing. So, I've now got a power button here, which I can press, and we'll see what happens. So, we ready? 3, 2, 7. It's a nothing. Nothing happened. Do I need to use the keyboard or something like that? Is there a reason? I know that when when you did this, when Colin did his, there was an issue with the transistor down here. I'm not going to put my finger down there. That would just be stupid. There was a problem with this transistor here, actually. I don't know if that's a thing, but I feel certain that I'll tell you what I can do, or not. Yeah, this board has the newer one on. Okay, cool. All right. So what am I checking? Let me get my multimeter, and we're gonna work the problem, people. Alrighty. So if I do a bit of this, I'm getting 12.2 volts coming out of there, which is great. So if I go from here to here, what? What? Yep. Okay, I'm getting 12 volts going into the Pico, but nothing happening from the Pico. Now, this is, of course, I've never tested this Pico, so it might be rogered. Who knows? Did you clean the contacts? Oh, you think it's the connector down here, yeah? Is that your theory? You think the connector down connecting to the logic board, you reckon that's the bad thing? All right, okay. All right, we'll clean it. Millions wouldn't, but I will. Do you know something about the 2SI? I hate this thing. This little metal one that sticks down the side of the fan, because it just gets in the way. It's really hard to actually press this down to then remove the power supply. I would like it if it was only on that side. So maybe I will remove it. Or would that be vandalism? Really interesting thing with vintage computers, again, when it comes to collecting things, certainly from my perspective, what I have found is having things working is very important. I remember someone talking about vintage handguns and rifles and stuff like that, that they're worth a lot more if they function. And, you know, I definitely think that's the same with vintage computers, that it's important that they function. Don't remove it. Why not? I want to remove it. Okay, so we think the contact's under here, yeah? Maybe? So, see if I can clean those up a little bit. I still reckon they'd be making contact, you know. I know they look ugly, but I still think they would be making contact. But I will do something. What have I got that I can shove down there? I think I might have a little... Oh, sorry, wind. Wind. I've got a little file. The soft power comes through those contacts. Fair enough. Okay, so I've got a little file here. So this little file here, it's a little round file. Oh, excuse me. And I'm going to... yeah, mate. I'm going to just shove this down each one and give it a little twiddle. See how we go. This might work. Had a good throwing that wiring harness. Yeah, I mean, look, I think if I wasn't doing this on live stream, I would have absolutely done that. Ultrasonic is magic. I had someone contact me the other day saying that they had bought an ultrasonic cleaner and it wasn't working. You know, it had blown up or something like that, and I was sort of thinking, God, I hope you didn't run it without it being full. I don't think people realise that it's necessary for an ultrasonic cleaner to be close to full in order for it to work. I think some people just sort of think, hey, I don't need all this water, I'm just going to half fill it up. It's not good for them. They will blow up if you do that. They do need to be full, or very close to full. All right. So I don't know. They might be better. We'll see. Now, if this still doesn't work, I mean, it could still be those contacts. I accept that. But it could also be this little Pico chappy. Plugged in, got our little green light again, which is nice. Press the power button. Still nothing. Now, technically, correct me if I'm wrong here, but technically, this Pico should be getting power, should it not? Because I'm getting 12 volts here. It's 12 volts is going to there, but the Pico, what, doesn't come on because there's no load? Is that sort of right? Does the... Hey, hello, Jay. Welcome. How was the movie? Logic board connector cleaner. I've got some isopropyl alcohol. I can always give it a bit of a scrub. Stick a finger in the PSU. Yeah, why not? This is the bad bit here. So that's the primary on that side, and this is the secondary on this side. So we're probably not too bad in this general region. This is all 12 volties. So the Pico is not going to come on unless there's a load. Is that correct? What actually triggers the Pico to come on? So in other words, if I was to test these voltages here, 12 volt, 5 volt, whatever, I'm not going to get anything from them. So we've got power going into the Pico, because I can test that there. There's definitely 12 volts going in here, but there'd be no point in testing these at this stage. Would that be correct? Because this needs load to come on. So if I were to, I don't know, trick it or something, give it a sneaky load and make it come on. Because it just occurred to me, I mean, I'm assuming this logic board works. I'm pretty sure this is one of the ones that works. I'll try the other power supply. Because maybe I've just picked one that doesn't work. Take out the PSU connect power and test the yellow to black to be sure 5 volts standby. Okay, take out the PSU connector power. PSU connect power. Take out the PSU, connect, comma, connect power, and test the yellow to black to be sure 5 volts standby. So yellow to black, so I can do that from the second row edge to edge. So we're testing from there to there, there to there would be right. Yellow to black. Right, let's do that then. Oh, actually, yeah. I'm going to put this power supply in and just see if this starts with this. Because if it doesn't start with this, we know things are wrong, and I'm not going to just pursue a dead bloody logic board. Okay, switch him on. Okay. Right, we know the TWEEZERS does work, so that's something. That's a good thing. Yep. So that's good. We do want to just get in here maybe with a little bit of ISO alcohol as well. Front first plastic tab PSU or slide out. Take out the front first plastic tab. Oh, will it? You sure? I'm sure I've tried that before. Alright, okay, so what we're going to do now is yellow to black. That is yellow to black. That's this side there. There to there. We want to test. Right. Right. Okay, plugging into power. And getting ourselves a multimeter. And testing from there to there, I believe. Or was it there to there? Oh, okay. So there I'm getting 5 volts. What was that? That's... Oh, it is. Oh, yeah, I was doing the wrong side. So, yeah, I'm getting 5 volts. I am getting 5 volts. Yellow to black. 5. Bingo. Yellow to black seems like... Yeah, so there we go. 5 volts on yellow to black. So 5 volt is going to the board. That's nice. So are we still thinking that it's this connector? I mean, I just wouldn't have thought it would create such... It would just be so epically not working. Maybe it's just a stupid little Pico. Stranger things have happened. Alright. You have an ATX power supply close by? I do. Here we are. Here we are. So remove the Pico and try that. Okay, cool. No worries, I will do that. Let's do that. This is fun. I'm glad it didn't just work. This is fun. Right, so I don't need to plug power into there, do I? It's all coming in through the ATX. Would that be correct? So I'll just take the Pico out. Oh, God, come out, you stupid thing. This is the side where I don't have a screw holding it in, so it's bending. There we go. There we go. Got him out. All right. Okay, so there's that. And this is another one that this power supply I don't think comes on unless it has load, so I'll be interested to see what it does. Okay, plug him into the mains power. Switching on the ATX now, see what happens. Okay, do I have to press this? Oh, thought I heard it pop there for a second. But yeah, see, I don't know if this has an impact, but this particular power supply, even when you switch the power button on, it doesn't actually spin up unless there's load. So I don't know if that means something or doesn't mean something or has an impact on things or anything. Is this making it more and more likely to be the connectors? I guess I can test them, can't I? Okay, ATX will always generate that standby voltage rail. So in theory, having this plugged in, if I were to press the power button, it should come on. I think that's what I'm saying. Still leaning towards the connector. Okay, no worries. Well, what I'm going to do a few little tests here with the multimeter. And we'll see what we can conjure. So he reckons if I undo this thing first, it'll just slip out. Ah, it did. Thank you. Right. Righty. So, what I'm going to do, to start off with, I'm just going to get the multimeter and just do end-to-end on these things here. So, what do we got here? Okay, we've got little probe points here, so I can use those. And then I just need to go there. So let's start off. Sorry, folks, I know it's a little bit boring, but it's diagnosis. This is all the stuff that I try and avoid in my live streams because I just sort of feel like it's so tedious to watch, but it is also a bit of a fact of life. So I just want to check and make sure that we're going, each one of these pins is going somewhere, okay? So that's there, that's to ground. Okay, that's good. That's there, that should be going to ground as well. Yep. I've got the green one. What's green? Green. 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 What is green? What does green do? What should I be checking green against? I can't see. I've got to see in between here. Green is... oh crap. Green is minus 12 volts. Okay. Where's minus 12? Where's minus 12 coming from? What do I test minus 12 against? We've got plus 3, plus 12, plus 3. I don't see a label for minus 12 anywhere here. So I could just do the whole, just touch it on everything. There we are. Found it. And it's working. Okay, and then we've got white. White is something. Plus 5. So we know the plus 5 works. I've already tested that. I'm not sure what I test the white on. That's the white there. Oopsie. Pin 2 on the tab side, was that? Minus 12 is pin 2. Oh, yep, that's what I thought. Yep. So that minus 12 is good. So I'm now just trying to figure out what the white is. Oh God, I need my mother glasses. I can't see shit. PFW. Okay, so PFW. Where do I check PFW? On the board. That's the white. One there. Oh, okay. I'm getting a continuity for white on one side of R2, which is probably coming out of that transistor or something. I don't know. I guess. Probably one of the pins on that little transistor would be my guess. There's the resistor by the transistor. Yep, alright, so that's all good. So it's R2. So the white's working. So that's that row done. Then we've got yellow, sorry, we've got orange, which is plus 12. Orange plus 12. Am I plugged into the wrong thing? I think I'm plugged into the wrong thing. Here we go. Orange is plus 12. Yep, plus 12 is good. And then we've got red. Red will be +5. Beep. +5. Beep. And then we've got, I guess that's another +5. And another +5. And then that one will be ground. Okay, now, I have just done that without plugging something into it. That is literally just my probe resting on the outside of these connectors. So I sort of feel like if they are actually, you know, connecting to a pin, we should be getting continuity. I would be amazed if we weren't. I mean, I can test that, of course, when I can take the logic board out and I can plug this in, and then I can test continuity from the underside of the board onto the other side of the power supply. So I can check then to see if I am getting continuity with the connector. So I sort of feel like that's probably the way to go, just so that we can eliminate that as the cause. Unless anyone has a better idea. Always welcome to better ideas. Boop. God, I hate this. Come on, come out. There we go. Don't be a dick. Submerge in water idea is the way to go. No! Pardon me. I just went all Canadian computer collector there and gave a nice big burp on live stream. Warranty void if removed. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I think I may have voided my warranty. Okay. Connect that in there. And then I'm going to do the same test that I did before, but I'm going to do it from the pins on the bottom of the logic board. So, like that. And we'll see if we've got any that are missing. Beep, beep. Right, let's start with black going to ground. It's probably easier if I go there first. There we go. So we've got one ground there, one there, one there. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 grounds making connection. So that's good. Not the warranty. Hello, Veronica Explains. Welcome. We're at the point now where I've done all of the interesting stuff, and now I'm just doing diagnostics, so I apologise. I apologise to anyone who's just tuning in now. I'll try and be as interesting as I can. Okay, and then we are doing green. And the green was it -12, I think? That was pin 2, so let's do that one there. Green, that's the middle one there. I think it was green. I think that was it. Yep. Nope. Yep, there it is. Okay, so that's making connection. And white. White was the one that was connected to the little resistor. So let's check that. That one's there. And the little resistor is there. It was, wasn't it? Wasn't it white? Was it? What? Am I on the wrong place? Oh, jeez, there's nothing wrong with me. Idiot. Idiot. Yeah, okay, that's the white is good. And then the yellow is 5 volt. And that one is right down there. Oh, far out. I'm doing a very lousy job here. So yellow is that end one. That end one there. Do. Yep, we're good. Okay. Maybe time for a philosopher. My new headphones have touch controls and I keep accidentally activating them. Oh no! Talk about first world problem. Orange, that's plus 12 volts. Oh no! $12 volt. And then red's 5 volt, 5 volt, 5 volt. So this one, so let's go on to 5 volt there. It's 5 volt, and we go there. And then that last one is ground we already tested. Okay, so what I have been able to ascertain is that we are getting a connection through from the connector. So I can kind of rule out an issue with the connector at this juncture. However, what I am going to do is I'm going to leave this out of the case because this will allow me to wiggle this around a little bit. So I'm going to connect this up like that, and then I'm going to plug it into the power, and then we're going to try and switch it on, but we're going to wiggle around a little bit. Because if it is the connector, then yeah. Okay, green light's on there. We know that. I'm going to press the power button here. Oopsie. I feel like there's something else going on here. I'm starting to run out of ideas, but I do feel like there's something else going on here. I don't feel like the issue is the connector. I'm wiggling it around here. I've gone in and I've checked the continuity. It all seems to be fine. We've got that going. We've got this thing is getting 12 volts. We want to try now with the ATX. We'll just take this one out and try it with the other one. How do you know it's without a? How do you know it's on? Oh, because if it was coming on, there's a little LED on here. If it was on, a little LED there would be coming on. So I know that. You have 2N4401. People usually buy me a drink before they ask me that. Possibly. I will have a look. Let me just have a look here. 2N4401. Ba-doop, ba-doop, ba-doop. The first thing I'm going to do is check and make sure if it's something they have at JCar, because they are open today, so I can duck over there if I don't. I mean, I would not do that live stream. I'm not going to take people with me to JCar in a live stream. I think that would be a bit too much. But I will see if it's something that they have. Okay. What was it again? It was 2N4401. 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 Bip. Okay, JCar. 2N5484. No, they don't. What are these? Who do they think they are? Let me just do a search for 4401. But then I'll have a look in my bits. I mean, there's a very good chance I do have some, because I do have a bit of a collection of bits. No products found. Okay. So, JCar don't have a 2N4401, but that doesn't mean I don't. I'm just going to do one last thing here and get this ATX, other ATX, and plug that in. And Scooby-Doo. Okay. No. Okay. All right. So, let me see if I've got a 2N4401, because there is a possibility I do. It rings a bell, but then, you know, I'm old. Oh, my mate's just sent me a message. This guy gets hold of old computers, and he's just sent me a picture of an iMac, and he's asking me if I want it, but I need to look up what sort it is. I would really like a Retina one, a 27-inch Retina. Okay, so no transistors there. Don't know what that is. Grab all the miscellaneous. I've got lots of containers that just say miscellaneous. And people who have watched my live streams before will know that I just wade through them. It's kind of fun. Probably not for you guys, but it is for me. Got lots and lots of VRAM here for an SE30. Got 55 megahertz crystal here, which can take this up to, what is that? What's half of 55? 27 and a half? Okay, let's have a look in this one. Or is this empty? Oh, it's not empty. No, that's as good as empty. That really should stay on the bottom. Okay, this one. 2N4401. Also known as a PN100. PN100. Does that sound right? PN100, 2N4401. Quicksilver Oz, hello there. Try and see, but it means taking it all back apart. I don't care about that. That's fun. That is fun. Okay, so what we're essentially looking at doing is replacing this little chappy right here with a 2N4401 instead, which I have already lost. Oh, here it is. It's fallen onto my leg. There we go. Screwdriver. Scamperly, hello there. How's the Brucinator today? See, the Brucinator is actually the name given to my solder sucker. By Jay. Jay from the House of Moth called it that. There is a 2N4401 in there now, but it could be faulty. Cool. What I will do when I open it up is I will also eyeball it and make sure there isn't anything that's like not soldered that should be, or something like that. And I'm sure that's highly unlikely, but we'll check. Brucinator must include the trademark when typed. Anyone using a Mac, you can get the trademark symbol with option 2. Option 2 will bring up the trademark symbol. How come I got this in so easily, but now it's so hard for me to undo? Take off the plug part. That's why. I thought it was easier before. See, if I did things right, it wouldn't be as fun, would it? Huh? No. Right, now, let's get this out as well. There we go. Alrighty, so let's have a little look-see here. First of all, just make sure that all of these pins are soldered, because if there's one that's not soldered properly, yeah, they all look good. All soldered. All soldered. They're all soldered. So yeah, okay, so what we're thinking is there's possibly an issue with this little guy here. I will inspect anything else you might potentially want me to inspect if you want me to inspect. Well, without the metal frame, you can try it on the board without the metal frame also. Yes, I know, it's there, so... Yeah, continuity solve. Right, so... Yes, you're right, I did. I tested it right through to the through to this board here, so we kind of know, don't we? We have to know. Right, so that's good. Just check that, that's fine. I can't see anything else there that would be causing an issue. So let's whip off this transistor and replace it with a t'other. Some WICK. Scope view, please. Scope view, please. I wasn't really, I wasn't there for long, so I figured it probably didn't matter, but I'll put it on for this. Oop, that's not scope view, that's scope view. So this is the, these are the pins for the transistor. You know, I mean, what are the odds of this thing being bad? I don't know, probably not good, but we've got to try everything, don't we? I have to say, even with all this stuff we're having to do now, it's still easier than recapping the original power supply. I mean that most sincerely. Alright, let me get my little component tester. Is this the one that's busted? Oh no, this one works. There we go. Okay, so I've just popped the transistor into this component tester, and oh, it's doing something. What's going on? Oh crap! Yeah, I think this is the one that's stuffed. It works. It worked for a second there, but now it's the screen's stuffed. Okay, so we won't use that one. Here's another one. This is my older one, my old dirty one, but it still works. Dirty. Okay, switching them on. Okay, so this is actually testing correctly as a transistor. NPN. Pin 1 is a collector, pin 2 is the base, pin 3 is the emitter. Well, that's, sorry, that's what I plugged it into. That doesn't necessarily mean the pins, so. Okay, so we got that. And then we get this, we'll make sure it's around the right way. That's the way it's supposed to be. (4401). Okay. So I'm going to replace it. I don't know. I did just use my fancy transistor tester. Mr. Moth. It's not that fancy. I actually have two of them. I managed to break one of them. It's the newer one that I have. I don't know how it happened, but something has severed the flex cable going to the little LCD. I had a look to see whether it would be something that I could repair, and technically I probably could, but those little LCDs are so crazy cheap that I'm not sure I want to go through the headache associated with having to do that little flex repair. Right, so I have swapped the transistor. Where's the logic board? Where'd I put it? Who stole it? There it is. So there's the logic board. And where do we go? That way around. That way around. That way around. We're now just doing all sorts of... We're just getting more and more dangerous as we go. Making sure that I get myself closer and closer to touching high voltages. Because, you know, that's what we do. The unit I sent to this doesn't use the 2N3904. It worked on my TWEEZER, but not on his. So maybe I need to do that as well. I can't promise I have a 2N3904. I'll have a look. Maybe Colin's the odd one out, eh? Never thought of that. I then changed to it, and his and yours. It worked. Okay, cool. All right. So I'm going to do this now. I'm not a huge fan of what I'm doing here, or should I just plug in the ATX, just for safety? Use a 2N222222222. I might just try the ATX first, just because that saves me from having to expose myself to large unfriendly voltages. Snug fit. Yes. Right, so plug this in here. At a certain point, I will need to retire and go and think about this. Have a good old think about what we do next. So, pressing the power button now. Oh, it worked. It worked. It worked. It worked. I'm going to put it together. So, that transistor, even though it tested right, I must have been poopy, I guess. That's a scientific term. A poopy transistor. Interesting, isn't it? It's been a fun time. As I said before, it's kind of fun when you get to this stage. Because diagnostics are fun. It's very rewarding when you get things figured out. I'm sure everyone can relate to that. Nothing quite as fun as fixing something. I mentioned earlier on in the live stream that, was it yesterday? Yesterday I had to fix my range. And it's just nice when you got something that doesn't work, and then you go and you do your thing, and then it does work, and you go, yay, feeling good today. I will start drinking wine an hour earlier as a reward. Getting an intimate look at my ATX cables. We would like to change the view. Oh God, someone with a noisy motorbike out there. Let everyone know about it. Hey, I have a noisy motorbike. Really frustrated. The pub next to me, the pub just up the road from me, excuse me, they've done all these revamp, and they've got a new bistro there, and they were supposed to open on Wednesday, and they're still not open, and no one can say why. I'm like, oh, when are you opening? Oh, next week maybe. You know, what's going on? Oh, I don't know. It's like, you've done all the work. It's all built. You've got a kitchen. You're capable of making food. What's going on? Who knows? All right. Okay, I'm going to press the power button. Hey, we got a light. See the light? I saw the light. So at least that's something we can put into the little brain banks for future. If something like this doesn't happen, maybe there is a problem with that transistor. I didn't check to see if the orientation was wrong or anything like that. I didn't actually look when I removed it. I'll be able to go back and look at the video. Maybe it was on upside down or something like that. But I don't want to put that idea into people's heads because it may not have been the case. And I certainly don't want to suggest that there was anything wrong with its building. Get in there. Come on, you came out. There you go. Boom. Nice click. I love it when they click in like that. Okay, so then I can plug this SCSI hard drive in, because it'll be nice to hear it spin up. I am going to replace this with a blue SCSI or a Zulu SCSI. I have no idea why I have a mechanical hard drive in this. Maybe I was just so excited that I had a mechanical hard drive that still worked. I decided to put it in. That's always possible. Okay. I'm just going to do this. Excuse me just a second. And I'm going to do this. There we go. All right. Okay. Oh, geez, I've still got quite a few people watching. So hello to everyone who is watching. If you've missed part of it, basically this is a 2SI that I have. This is my 2SI, and I don't know why it has no floppy drive, but it has no floppy drive. And I got hold of a 2SI a while ago, and I can't remember the condition of the logic board. I think it was an absolute train wreck, but it had a power supply in it. And I opened up that power supply today and found that it was a mess. A mess. You know, the board's leaky caps, corrosion, terrible. Will from KMAC Vintage, a while ago, he sent me this power supply replacement. This is this little guy here. It's a little thing here called Power Up TWEEZERS, Power Up TWEEZERS, TWEEZERS Pussy. And today in the live stream, I basically got it all set up with this 12-volt power supply and this Pico ATX, and we tested it. Now we had a problem, and it looks like the problem was a transistor, but we have replaced that transistor, and now we're going to give it that final crack to see if we get a nice loud chime coming from the speaker, which is underneath this. And so I'm going to do that now. Plug it in. It started without me doing anything. Maybe the power switches. The power switches turned. You know how these were designed so that if you wanted to use these as a server, you could. Hang on. If you wanted to use these as a server, you could push and turn this little power button so that if you had a power outage, there we go. If you had a power outage, it would automatically come on again. But if you put this in, there we go. So that's the normal position, like that, horizontal there, and that now works as a button. It's not locked on. So that's why it came on all by itself. I will be interested to see whether this cycles power, because this used to cycle power, and I've always assumed it was the power supply doing that. If it doesn't cycle power, then I think we can say it probably was the power supply. So switching them on. Nice big loud chime. That's wonderful. This one's mentioned before. This has got what is it? This has got 16 megabytes of RAM. I said 32 before. That's a lie. They're 4 megabyte SIMs, and there's 4 of them, so that's 16 megabytes. But there is some RAM on board with these. It's either 4 or 8 or something like that. So you get a little bit extra. You can put 4 16s in here, which will give you a total of 64 megabytes plus whatever's on board. Decent amount of RAM for a 2SI, that's for sure. I can hear it starting up. The hard drive is doing its whizzery thing. I don't have a monitor down here, so we just have to assume that it's saying welcome to Macintosh, and it's probably loading into System 7.1 because that's what I like for this era of computer. I think the 68030s run pretty well under System 7.1. So I used to ride motorbikes. I had a terrible motorbike accident in 1992, spent 2 months in hospital, so that was fun. Yeah. So it hasn't cycled power or anything like that. It's just working beautifully. It's making me want to actually grab this computer and go and play with it, because that's what I like doing with old computers. And it's also tempting me to go and overclock this again, because I went back. I started off, it was originally 40, then I took it up to, sorry, 40 is the oscillator speed, which is 20 megahertz. I took it from 20 to 25, but then when it started doing the power cycling, I thought I'll take it back, but it didn't change the power cycling. So I sort of feel like I can probably overclock it again now. Let's just have a look and see what options I have in the way of crystals to see whether I can actually do that. It's all crystals these days. You know that, don't you? All crystals. Okay, I have got a 55, which would take me up to 27.5. That might be pushing it a little bit too far. Some people have said that they have successfully done it. That's another 40. It's good to have in case you have a problem with a computer. There's another 55. There's another 55. And another 55. And a 40. Okay, so I've got two 40s and 55. So I can overclock this, but I have to overclock it up to 27.5. So, and let's just hope that works. I know now why I have no more 50s, and that's because I had one, and then I had to replace a busted one on a Macintosh IIsi. So there you go. Try keyboard power. Try keyboard power. I will try keyboard power. There is a keyboard here somewhere. Here it is. There we go. So I'm going to power it off. I'm going to plug in the keyboard. Oh man, that is so mangled. That plug is so mangled. Ah, plugged in though. That's good. So I'm going to press the button. 3, 2, 1. Works a treat, mate. Yeah, good, thanks. So I'm just going to quickly go on to the overclocking a TWEEZERS website, because I think low-end Mac have some information about this. So I'm going to go overclock TWEEZERS. Oh wow, my video is the first thing to come up. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? This makes me feel important. Google likes me. Just search for stuff esoteric enough, I'll come up. Okay, let's just have a look at the screen here. So TWEEZERS comes with a 40 megahertz oscillator, which runs the computer at 20 megahertz, half the speed of the oscillator. You can put in a 50 megahertz oscillator to run the computer at 25 quite easily. You may even be able to put up a 55 oscillator and run at 27.5. The limiting factor here is the floppy drive controller. I don't use a floppy drive, so that doesn't matter. Also, the FPU in the PDS to new bus adapter and Ethernet cards may not be able to run at these higher speeds. Well, I'm not concerned about that, but I should probably check and see whether the Ethernet adapter works. But having said that, I probably don't even need the Ethernet adapter anymore. I'll probably just stick a blue SCSI or a SCSI in with with the wireless and just run it wirelessly. 2VX comes with a 62.68 run at 31. The 40 minutes and then replace. Okay, so you can do this with the 2VX as well. Cool. All right. Well, so let's. I'm going to do that as the last thing before I sign off. I'm just going to pop in a. I'm going to pop in the 55 and see if it still works, and if it does, great. I should really run speed tests on it first, shouldn't I? Okay, so let's just move this out of the way. I would like to be shutting this down properly, but as I don't have a screen, I can't go and select the shutdown. You know, I use vintage computers so much, vintage Mac so much, that I sometimes I get onto my modern Mac and I go looking for the special menu. It's not there anymore. Don't look for it, it's not there. Special empty trash. It's not there anymore. We can close this up now. I hope I haven't lost the screw. I have a tendency to do that. I mean, they're here and then they're just under something and then they're gone. Come on. Maybe just, I might be able to just stick an M3 in there. Isn't this a good thing? So just a reminder to everyone, if you do have a TWEEZERS and you do have power supply problems, check out the link in the description there, which will take you to this power supply replacement. And it is my understanding that Will is in the process of improving it even more. So there you go. I can't find this bloody screw. I mean, I know it's here somewhere. Shall we just try an M3? I think an M3 might be too big. Rudy, hello there. Yeah, it's too big. Oh no, it works. I mean, it's taking some coaxing. I'm adapting it. No, that's not going in. It's a smaller screw. It's like a smaller one. And I do have it here, under something here. I mean, it's either that or it's fallen on the floor, in which case it's gone forever. Because as soon as stuff hits the floor here, it's just gone. So, as I said at the beginning of the live stream, for those who celebrated, I wish you a Merry Christmas. If you celebrate something else, then I wish you a Merry whatever that is as well. I do hope that everyone has a good one. I am planning to do a couple of live streams during this quieter time. So just be on the lookout, if that's assuming you want to watch them. If you don't, then just ignore it. Yeah. Is that it? I found a screw. I don't know if it's the screw though. No, that's another M3. It's got to be here somewhere. I mean, I feel like it's on the desk. Still. But it's just under something. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think I found it. No, I didn't, but it might do. This is the screw from the from one of the other bits, but I think it might still fit. Oh, fudge sickle. Merry Chrysler. I feel like the screw hole will never be the same after I tried to jam an M3 in it. I have a random selection of screws where I might be able to find something that'll work with it. Let's do that. Where's my random selection of screws? Where did I put it? I've given it a new home and just not committed it to memory. That's helpful. I'll just glue it together. How about that? I've got a whole bunch of random screws in here. One of these has got to work, surely. Yeah, look at that one. That one looks like it might work. It's going to work whether you like it or not. Yay! Happy birthday, Jesus. I do quite like this time of year. A few reasons. Number one is because in our family we do a very, very low-key Christmas, so there's not a lot of stress involved. There's not a lot of wandering around looking for presents in shopping malls and all that sort of stuff. So it's pretty relaxed. The other reason I like it is because I love the warm weather, and this is a very warm time of year for us here. And it's why Santa always looks so stupid in that red suit when he's out here. Yeah, it's I do actually, as I say, quite like this time of year. I get all festive. Creeps up on me. It's crept up on me big time this year. Happy Crimbus. Merry Christmas. So I think that, as I say, I mean, I think always, whenever it comes to whether if you're wishing someone a Merry Christmas or whatever, I think at the end of the day, it has to just be about the fact that you're wishing well. And so you're saying, you know, positive things. I think most people, when they do say Merry Christmas, even if they're saying it to someone who doesn't necessarily celebrate the holiday, I mean, I don't think, I think most people that say it are saying it with good intention. Oh, look at that. Bruce got a super chat. That doesn't normally happen to me. I think everyone thinks that I'm, you know, rolling in internet money now, so I don't get super chats much anymore. But I did today from Dana. Thank you very much, Dana. I appreciate that. My channel has actually been getting some pretty good views lately because of just some of my old videos have been getting good performance. So can't really complain about that. It's always nice. But what also does happen when those videos take off a bit is I get lots and lots of silly comments. Or I get lots of comments that I've had many, many times before. Because when people leave comments in video comments, they don't look to see if someone has already commented on it, or look to see whether there have been replies to that comment. They just go in and write the comment again. So I often end up getting exactly the same comment over and over and over. So this is the little crystal oscillator here that I'm going to quickly replace before finishing up. These are actually, oh wow, this looks like this is totally untouched. So maybe this board has never been overclocked. So where's the one that I overclocked? Maybe that's in my storage unit. Oh, unless I soldered these so perfectly you would never know. And that's not out of the question. I'm saying it's unlikely, but it's not impossible. At least the repeated comments are engagement. That is so true, Veronica. Even when people are leaving mean or hurtful comments, it's still engagement. YouTube doesn't care. YouTube's just like, yeah, people are leaving comments. Awesome. This video is doing well. Yeah, I mean, you just get the same things over and over again. I don't really mind. There are some things that kind of get me a little bit fired up. I mean, there's no point in getting fired up really, but there are a couple of times where I get comments and I sort of just feel like, oh God, don't you have anything better to do? For the most part, I don't really care what the comments that people leave. Some people I often just sort of feel like, why? Why did you bother to leave that? Just like sort of totally just random stuff. The really interesting thing with when you're removing crystal oscillators is you feel like you got all the solder off, but then they just don't budge. Pin numbers are really weird on these oscillators as well, because they number them based on a chip of this size if it had pins all the way along. So instead of it being like pin 1, 2 and 4 or something, it's like pin 1, pin 8, pin 9 and pin 16 or something stupid like that. I can't remember exactly, but it's just a weird thing about the way crystal oscillators work. Okay, that side's come off. Now we just need this side. Oh, we're nearly there. Just one pin left. This is the one that I had trouble getting a bit of solder out of, so... yeah, trying to get decent purchase on it. Oh, you know what, I'm just going to use a soldering iron for that last pin. In school we were taught to buffer criticisms with compliments. Oh, you mean the compliment sandwich? So you say... yes, compliment sandwich, yes. I was thinking of Stewie Griffin giving a compliment sandwich to Brian Griffin in one of those episodes, and it was something like, you know, yeah, I like your smile, but you have smelly dog farts, or something like that. Got it. She's out. She's out. Okay, so that's the 40. My audio is probably going to go soon because my battery light is flashing. Flashy flash. Okay, here's me 55. Let's pop him in and see if we can get a blazingly fast 2SI. I'll probably have to use the fan because the CPU will start getting a bit hot, I dare say. Sorry, I only just read your comment there, Veronica. That is actually that's wonderful, isn't it? Geez, there was a Facebook shitstorm that came up relatively recently. It wasn't too bad, but essentially someone posted on one of the enthusiast groups, he posted a video of him making and setting up a Blue SCSI V1. Now, Blue SCSI V1's nice and easy to make, nice and easy to make yourself, you know, because you can just get the PCBs done and then you can make them up and doing great. But of course, Blue SCSI V1 has been superseded by the V2 now for a long time. And of course, when this person then posted this video on one of the enthusiast groups, it copped a little bit of flack from some people saying, you know, the Blue SCSI V1 is garbage, it has all sorts of problems, they have a high failure rate, blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah. Now, you know, that person who was making all those negative comments, they might have had some motivation for that, I'm not sure, but anyhow. It was just an interesting thing because I sort of thought to myself, I really have no objection to people using a Blue SCSI V1 by all means. I've still got loads of computers with Blue SCSI V1s in them. I'm just not sure we need any more videos about it. I feel like there are lots of videos on YouTube of people making Blue SCSI V1s. Alright, so this is the last thing I'm going to do before shutting down the live stream. I am currently broadcasting to around about 50 people. So thank you to those people who have stuck around. I do appreciate it. Just going to see if I get a chime on this and it fires up. If it does, we'll say happy happy. And then I will probably actually take this up to the house with its newfound power supply and have a little play with it. Because, you know, it's one thing to be collecting these Macs, but you do have to remember to play with them every now and again. Get some old games running on them, or, you know, whatever. Remind yourself what it was like to use these things in the day. And don't expect to go browsing the web with them. Now I feel like there's something stopping this from sitting flat. What's going on? What's happening? There we go. We're in. I'm in. That's the old thing from all of the hacking movies. Remember all the hacking movies in the olden days when people would try and be getting into a mainframe somewhere and they go, I'm in. I grew up with that sort of crap because I'm old. I watched that movie War Games for the first time just recently, just like this year. I had never seen War Games before, the one with Matthew Broderick and Ali Sheedy. Had never ever seen it before. Oh yes, be a liking of the smash button, please. I'm going to do...
Smash that like button.
There we go. Everyone happy with that? I do appreciate the smashing of the liking. Alright, plugged into the power, got my little green light. I can see the green light. There's the green light. There's the green. You can see the green light. There's the green light. And I'm now going to press the power button. It chimed, so even with a 27.5 megahertz CPU, it's still chimed. I'm going to put my finger here on the CPU to see if it gets hot. Okay, it's not painfully hot or anything like that. It's not like a G5. It's starting up, it's booting, so I can hear the hard drive going clickety-clickety-click. That is one thing that I will miss. I like the speed of solid-state drives, but I do miss the sound, particularly the old stepper motor hard drives, the original 20 megabyte, whatever they were, Mac stores or something. I can't remember what they were, but they were the old, the original 20 megabytes. Instead of having a head that moved like on a pivot there that would move like that. Which of course they stayed with, they had a stepper motor that moved the head in and out like that. And I love the sound of those, I really do. Well, it's not getting stupid hot or anything like that, and I could stick a heatsink on it if I start to worry. Oh, look what I found. I found the little air thingy for my microphone that I was talking about before. It's there, it was there all along. I could have used it the whole time. 5¼ Yeah, I've got 3 5¼ hard drives, and up until yesterday, one of them worked. Now, none of them work. I was testing one of them yesterday, and just having a bit of a fiddle, and then it just stopped spinning. It doesn't spin at all anymore. So I might have to, maybe there's a fuse or something. I'll probably open it up and have a look, see if it can repair it, because the mechanics of it seem to still work fine. The head and all that sort of stuff. So, Bruce will put a liquid cooler out of a G5 on a TWEEZERS. Yeah, yeah. It's getting warm. I've got my thermal camera here. I did a review on this thermal camera, by the way. This is a Vevor SC240M. If you look at my channel and product reviews, you will find a review of this one here. I have to say, I do like this one. It has things wrong with it. If you're wanting to use a thermal camera for taking video or stills, this is probably not the best one for you. If you're going to do that, I'd recommend going with one that attaches to your phone. But if you're wanting one in a rugged case like this, where you can just go around and inspect temperatures and stuff, this one's good. It's got a nice fast refresh rate and a good resolution on the on the thermal sensor. It has a little got the little flashlight as well, or what we call a torch in this part of the world. All right, so let's have a look. So we're sitting at around about 50 degrees C. Yeah. So I don't consider that, you know, detrimental to this CPU. Actually, you can't see it because there we go. How about I do that? There we go. Now you can see it. You can see the heat on there. And yeah, we're getting it around about 50 C, right in the middle of that CPU. Let's compare it to some of the other chips. Some of the other ones are around about that temp as well, by the look of it. So, you know, it's not too bad. Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, I'm going to start wrapping things up now. So, but I feel like it's been a really good one. I mean, I'm kind of glad the power supply didn't just work, because it gave me plenty of stuff to fill the live stream with. As it turns out, if you did happen to miss that, the issue we had with it was a faulty transistor on the board. We replaced it with I had one here just out of pure luck. I happen to have a few of that particular type of transistor, so I was able to swap it over, and everything went good. You can buy these little self-adhesive, what do you call them? Heat sinks. For a CPU that actually have like an adhesive thermal thingy underneath it. So you just literally peel the tape off, and then you can stick them down on a CPU, and they just provide a little bit of heat sinking to that with very little hassle. You don't need to worry about rigging up anything fancy. You just literally stick it onto the top of the chip. I will probably get something like that for this computer, just to provide a little bit of extra cooling. Of course, when the case is on, you get better airflow inside here, so it would be providing better cooling. As it is with the case off like this air is just going everywhere, so no, not really providing the same sort of level of cooling. Are you joking? Did I miss it all? Charlie, I regret to tell you this, you did, but it is all recorded for posterity, so you can, of course, go in and watch it from the beginning. I know it's not the same. To anyone who is watching this on the replay, hello to you. Thank you for doing that. I'm sorry that you don't get to participate in the chat, but I'm not really able to live stream to keep everyone happy. Too many time zones in the world, I'm afraid. So yeah, we're basically TWEEZERS here with a really, really bad, yucky, crusty, old, crappy power supply, which I've been told to hang on to, which I'm going to do. I've got to hang on to this. I got a message from Colin from This Does Not Compute. It says, don't throw this away, so I'm not gonna. Even though I sort of feel like this is probably salvageable with a recap and a clean, it's just so much better to have something like this with modern, newer components in it. And so, yeah, thank you very much. Links in the description to that particular product. And as I say, I believe better things are coming as well. So yeah, it all went really well. Got the power supply working. This is another power supply I have which does work, but sometimes cycles power. So I sort of feel like this one isn't in perfect condition. Even though it has been recapped, there's probably still something wrong with it. And so maybe that one is destined for the same thing. But I would definitely be saying to people, for the ease of just not having to worry about all this crap. I mean, what a nightmare. Definitely going with the little drop-in is good. So, yeah, there are more than 24 time zones. I know that because even here in Australia, we've got one that goes half an hour. So we've got this, Adelaide is actually like 1.5 hours different to where we are. So it's like instead of a whole hour. Crazy. So, okay, I am going to be live streaming probably a few coming up. I'll be doing. I've got to build another blue SCSI, so I'm probably going to do a live stream while I do that. I know that's a little bit dull, but there's a little bit of surface mount soldering. Probably get to try out these little solder tweezers doing that, which will be a bit of fun. So that's going to be coming up, and of course I've got my normal production schedule happening. I've got lots of videos that are part way done that I need to finish up if I get the spare time. I'm pretty much back on board now after the taking that time off after getting some minor surgery. So yeah, I consider myself pretty much back to normal now. About, let's say, 95%.
To all of those who celebrate it, Merry Christmas to you. To those who don't, whatever you happen to be doing, whatever celebration you are having, I hope you do celebrate and have a good time, and I hope everyone gets to catch up with family. It's only 3 days to Christmas for us here. I know it's 4 days for a lot of people, but yeah, so if I don't live stream before then, I hope you all have a wonderful time. Enjoy yourselves, be nice to each other, and eat lots of food. And if you like to drink, a little bit of a libation as well. Not a bad thing to do there. So thanks again to all of you for watching. Thank you for keeping the chat lively. It has been really good today. Really lots going on in the chat. It's been absolutely wonderful. So I do appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat, Dana. Appreciate that. I'll give you that money back a little bit later on. Yeah, and I hope to see you at the next live stream. So I am going to find the little end stream button. I'm going to say thank you to everyone, and have a good one, and bye-bye.